Hello race fans, and welcome to the PorscheSport Carrera Cup, live here from Zandvoort in the Netherlands on the beautiful Dutch sea line. Joining me in the commentary box today is Soumil Arora. Soumil, we have been spoiled to an incredible season here in the PorscheSport Carrera Cup, and we still have a few more rounds to go. We're now at the penultimate round, and we're going to see Maxim Ramstein and Alexander Teeb go head-to-head. What are your predictions for this one, my friend?
This one is just going to be absolutely superb, as every single one of the past rounds has been as well. Every single race in the PorscheSport Carrera Cup has brought along a whole lot of drama, and from this I expect absolutely nothing else.
Absolutely. So as you can see, we're here at Circuit Park Zandvoort, a beautiful seaside circuit which has some rich history which we will go through throughout the broadcast. As you can see, look how tight that is at the top of the standings. Alexander Teeb, the world's fastest physiotherapist, is on 554 points, with Maxim Ramstein on 545. So it is anybody's guess who could take this championship, and both the championship protagonists 200 points ahead of their nearest competitor. It is going to be an absolute cracker. In the team standings, well, HM Engineering, Kieran Harrison and Maxim Ramstein have done a great job dovetailing to many good results across this season. But in second place, Team Redline, well, that's actually should be Team Alexander Teeb. He's been doing a bit of a Marc Marquez. He's had it all to do on his own, Soumil.
Yeah, he has had all of it on his own for Alexander Teeb, but that does not discourage him. The way he's been driving so far in the series has been absolutely admirable, and he brings his best onto the table every single time. When he doesn't, like he didn't in Interlagos, he was the first to recognize, and the way he came back, phew, that was incredible.
It certainly was, yeah, and it was amazing, the difference in his mood in the post-race interview from Interlagos to, he was very much back to his old self last time out, that's for sure. Now, this is what they're going for. The winner of this championship will win €150 in prize money, second €100 and third $75. We also have the Alcantech Simulation Trophy, which is it's the Hard Charger Award. Who gains the most places across the season? And Soumil, I know our dear friend Dane Baird has one eye on that trophy, and I believe he is quite far up in the standings for that particular trophy.
Yeah, Dane sadly hasn't been able to have the best of qualifying runs, but that does not discourage him, because for him it's a lot more about going and getting the moves done on the circuit, and that's been something he's been absolutely brilliant at. And when you club that with the colour of his beautiful livery that he's got, and it's nice bright and pink inside, it just makes for a wonderful sight. Aggressive drivers, beautiful cars, and best of all, they're Porsches.
Oh yes, they are beautiful indeed. So our drivers will be going out for 10 minutes of solo qualifying, crucially solo qualifying, so they have the solitude of Zandvoort circuit all to themselves, so they don't have to worry about traffic if the whole field were out qualifying all together. Then we go into 2 heat races, 20 minutes each, of a maximum of 30 cars. Now, out of each of these heats, only 10 drivers advance, so we have 2 battles going on towards the end of the race. We have the one for the race win, but also to who gets into that crucial feature race, which is where all the big points are handed out. The other cars go into the dreaded Consolation Race. No cup of tea for them while they wait for the feature. And from that race, there's a maximum of 40 cars, but only 10 will advance to the feature. So that at the Consolation Race, that's really where we've seen the most eventful laps of the evening, Soumil.
Oh yeah, that is where all the drama kicks up, because when you've got 40 cars at a circuit so tight, twisty and serpentine like Zandvoort, oh, it's just an invitation for trouble. Only 10 cars advance, so the stakes are ever so high, and you see drivers going for lunges like they never have. That is the beauty of the PorscheSport Carrera Cup. Every single lap and every single race matters. There's some stake attached to it. That's why I love watching this series, because the drivers always have something to give towards.
So as you can see, 30 seconds remaining of the qualifying session. Dylan Burse, number 68, the teenager, 1 minute 38.032, but he's immediately usurped by, well, surprise, Alexander Teeb, not one to be outdone, but look at that, Soumil, 39 thousandths separating the top three. And of course, the top three, two of our championship contenders, or our only two championship contenders, Alexander Teeb and Maxim Ramstein. This is going to be an absolute cracker, I think.
Oh, it absolutely is. These two guys have been going so well against each other. And of course, Dylan Burse also joining Vendeval Sim Racing lately. So he's got that move building up his momentum. What can he do here? Can he be the big bone in the kebab for Teeb and Ramstein, that is?
Well, speaking of, this is our starting grid for the opening heat of the night. And I think this is the first time we've seen this all season. Alexander Teeb and Maxim Ramstein together in the heat race. So that is going to be interesting. We're going to get a little bit of a sneak preview for the feature race later on. In the second row of the grid will be Justin Tipton in the number 2. Watch out for him. He's the one with the bright pink wheels on his car. In fourth is Robin Osland, the man from Gavel. Hopefully he won't be in the gravel. Fifth is Justin Rem in the 912 machine, followed by Rasmus Busk. Row 4 will be Pascal Costa and Lewis Ward in the 97 Meraki Racing car. Row 5 will be Alan Powell and PorscheSport's very own Gavin Halls. And I have a story to tell about Gavin in the break in the action, Soumil. And row 6 is Michael Pedersen and Tobias Meisel. Row 7 will be Hugo Gallo and Ross Jost. Row 8 will be Karsten van Eyck and Martin Spalek. And row 9 will be Brian Lockwood and finally Hendrik Lichtenhagen. So we wait for the drivers to approach the grid and we will be about ready to go here at Zandvoort. Now, Zandvoort holds a very close place in my heart, Soumil, for many reasons, one of which is the fast food vans that run along the sea coast here at Zandvoort are magnificent, and they have a particular delicacy in Holland called kibbeling, which is a kind of fried fish, and it's absolutely delicious.
Well, I've got to try it for sure one day if I go to Zandvoort, and it's a circuit that I would love to go to. It's nice, fast, twisty, lots of amazing corners. It's a circuit that conflicts quite a few people, and the racing can be a bit tricky at times because it's so narrow, but fear not, the drivers right here are always bound to put up a good show. We saw that in Montreal. This one is going to deliver as well.
Absolutely. These guys, if there's not room, they'll make room. So we're ready to go, waiting for the lights to come up. We will be about ready to go. This is like a feature race. We've got Maxim Ramstein and Alexander Teeb sitting on the front row. As we wait, poised, ready to go. The drivers engaged, the launch control. Oh, little nudge forward there from Kieran Harrison, I think that was. He might get a jump start penalty there, but we are green, green, green for the penultimate round of the PorscheSport Carrera Cup. Down they go towards the Tarzan Corner. So I wonder if there's war crying on the way down into that corner. And it's Alexander Teeb who's converted beautifully from pole position. But Maxim Ramstein tucked in right behind him in the HM engineering machine with Justin Tipton and Robin Osland right behind.
How often have we seen Justin Tipton and Robin Osland get a good start on the first lap? Tipton, of course, having a bit of a disaster of a run in Montreal, but recovering well with his pink wheels. Currently in P number 3, Alexander Teeb leads at the top. But look at this battle going side by side. Crikey, on the first lap itself, these guys will never give each other room. That has to be one of the WAP Volante cars, WIP.com Volante that is. And man, at the top, Maxim Ramstein and Alexander Teeb. Cue the drum roll. This is going to be a proper battle royale for the next 20 odd minutes.
It is, and of course Maxim Ramstein, he of course is a local driver, if you like. This is his local track at home. Lewis Ward's had a spin in the 97 Meraki car. Oh dear, 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 that's not what Lewis will be wanting. Not so good for the Englishman there. Let's see what happened to Lewis. Coming into his really, really quick right-hander here, and you get a horrible bump on the inside, and that just unsettled him. And Soumil, with the tyres being cold, they just kind of pogo around and they just don't want to grip when they're not up to full working temperature there.
Yeah, absolutely. These Porsche Carrera Cup cars, of course, rear-wheel drive, rear engine, they put a lot of weight and stress on the rear tyres. If you're not warmed up enough, well, the tyres just say, hello folks, that's my day done, I'm going to spin out and you're going to have a tough time getting me back on track. And that's exactly what's happened right there. But at the end of the first lap of Zandvoort, it is Teeb who maintains the...
We appear to have lost Soumil Arora, but Gavin Halls has spun around in the 38 machine. Oh, Gavin, what's happened to you? Let's have a look then. He just come. Oh, he gets a big help
Nice
going
win.
into Tarzan. Oh, that's a.
Big
Oh,
long
that was a
time,
wild move.
but all nice and clean so far. That was wild indeed. But where's Gavin Howell's gone? He's in the gravel for a couple of seconds. So we take a look at the replay once again. Actually, no, we're riding with Rob Nosland right now. We're seeing him go past in the middle sector, and that was something rather wild for Gavin Howell swing in the gravel. That's a bad start for him, sadly. The PorscheSport Carrera, PorscheSport driver. We've seen him do some really good moves at times. Well, this one just a sad beginning for him.
Yeah, it's a start. It's a difficult start to the day for Gavin Halls, the lead instructor at the Bahrain International Circuit. Also rides a very rare motorcycle, a Buell 1125R, which is a very special piece of kit. As we're looking at Robin Osland trying to hold off Justin Rem in the 912 machine, who's sporting some new livery. I think that is an Apex Racing Team livery, an SDK Gaming livery.
And it's a different livery, different colours, but he'll still be driving on with the same intent and the same spirit here at Zandvoort that he has maintained so far in this season. I remember Justin Rem doing a good job the last I remember at Interlagos. Let's see what he can do right here with Robin Osland fighting about. And behind we are seeing some changes in position. That's perhaps Henrik Lichtenhagen falling down a couple of places, isn't it? No, that's Busk. Oh, that must be one of the new WIP Volante drivers. That's HM Engineering, I beg your pardon.
So HM Engineering 2. So HM Engineering have actually brought in a new driver, Rasmus Bucks. So my apologies. Kieran Harrison must be in the second heat race of the evening. So my apologies to Kieran Harrison there. But yes, that would be serving a stop and go penalty, for jumping the start, which was quite clear to see. Just jumped the start slightly. So as we look at Justin Rem, well, he is a new man with this new paint scheme, isn't he? Up in 5th position, the man from Sylvan Lake, Alberta. So no shortage of oil in that part of the world if you've got a thirsty motor car.
Absolutely, and it's just propelling Justin Rem to a very good result right here in the 912 car. Question is, what can he do against Robin Osland, who is proven to be quite an astute defender himself? Zandvoort, of course, is a slightly narrower circuit in comparison, but as Peter, you mentioned early on, if there is no space, these guys will make it. We saw that in Montreal. That too is a very narrow circuit. Only difference being that one is a proper street circuit and this one is a full-blown racing facility. And even though we've seen lots of GT3, GT4 racing cars come here, and one might wonder, well, they're so wide, what kind of racing can they produce? Well, the battles have just been amazing. Now then, Brian Lockwood is on the chase behind Michael Pedersen for P number 8. That one should be interesting. That's on the edge of the top 10 bubble, mind you.
And this is the critical point at the moment. It's Tobias Meisel, as you said, on the in the 15 machine, who's just a little bit further back from this. He's on the bubble with a charging Henrik Lichtenhagen behind him as well. So it's all about that top 10 bubble. Get that automatic entry into the feature race, and your night becomes a whole lot more relaxed. As we see, we've got 14 minutes of this race left, so there's plenty more to happen. And we've seen it so many times, drivers who have been sort of languishing in 13th, 14th place, and due to a last corner incident or a last lap incident, all of a sudden they're like, oh, hey, I'm in the feature. Fantastic stuff. Oh, going for a big lunge there. Oh, sorry, Soumil, I just cut you there. Sorry, 143 Brian Lockwood taking a big lunge. That is one of the places where you can at least, there's plenty of room to make a move there, but making it stick after the move is the tricky part.
Well, it's the Carrera Cup philosophy. If you see a move, you go for a move. And he certainly saw one right there. He's looking for another lunge, this time out, heading towards the back sector chicane. It's a tough place to pass with all the camber around, so there's only around one line if you want to go the right way through. And Lockwood is on the tail of Pedersen right here. He has to force his way past. Doesn't mean he has to turn him around and then go ahead. Just find and force him into making a mistake. And Zandvoort is the right circuit for that. You can really pressurize the driver up ahead. So, Peter, here comes Lockwood. Where does he go? Outside or inside this time?
Well,
it stays behind.
Yeah, he's just not decided. That's quite, although it's a hairpin bend, that's maybe why they call it the Tarzan bend, because although it's a hairpin bend, it's actually very highly cambered. It's very positively cambered, so the corner almost helps you around if you like. Also, this corner here, the Kumo corner is, sorry, my apologies, I'm looking at the wrong end of my circuit map. The Gerlachbocht, after the Gerlachbocht is a very cambered corner also, but I tell you what, Soumil, my favourite corner, of which there are many on this particular circuit, but my favourite corner is the final corner, the big sweeping right-hander, named after one of the greatest Dutch IndyCar driver, Arie Luijendijk, who still, to this day, holds the pole position speed record. As we see Brian Lockwood trying that move again, and he might get stuck here. Yes, he can. Yeah, great move there from Lockwood in the 143 machine. But yes, Arie Luijendijk in 1996 set the pole position for the Indy 500 and qualified on an average speed across 10 miles of 237 miles per hour. A record which stands to this very day, set by Arie Luijendijk, the two-time Indy 500 winner, and aptly so. That corner, which is a bit like coming off of turn 4 at Indianapolis, is a perfect tribute to Arie Luijendijk.
Well, it's fast, it's flowing, you've got to get you've got to be really ballsy to get that corner correct, if I may say that word. You just have to get your entry right, and if you don't, you'll have to lift, which you don't want to. It's a corner that perfectly, it's a befitting tribute to the driver itself, Arie Luijendijk, being so daring in his approach. And now we are seeing this battle between Pascal Costa and Robin Osland, that is for P number 5. Pascal Costa, of course, joining the series in Montreal. He finished in P number 7 right there, so that was a really good start for him. Coming in with an impact straight away, and he is in P5 right now, with Hugo Gallo actually having a bit of a deal with Spalek at the back. So I guess we should have a look at what these guys are doing, because it takes two to tango, and these guys certainly doing that right here. Oh boy, dearie me, they are going properly side by side heading to turn 3.
Yeah, this is the this is not the battle for the lead, folks. This is the battle for 15th place. Such is the depth of field here in the PorscheSport Carrera Cup. It's been, Soumil, we say it so much, this has been an incredible season with such good standards of driving, really, really hard racing, and brilliant format as well. Short, snappy heat races really worked well.
Well, there's no place other than Zandvoort to perfectly test that out, because this circuit is so narrow in certain cases that passing, well, people say it becomes a luxury. And if these guys can race so well here, they can probably race anywhere in the world. Now, Alan Powell is fighting against Brian Lockwood for P number 8. As it stands, both of these drivers will be heading to the feature race directly, because remember, folks, the top 10 drivers make their way up there. But certainly it's a case of pride and also for qualifying positions, Peter.
It is. Every single position counts. If you're making it through to the feature race, if you're in the top 10, the further into the top 10 you can be, obviously the better the grid position you get for the feature, but also for the consolation race. If you can be just on the bubble and just miss out, but you still, the consolation of the consolation race is that you'll start at the front of that race, which really, really helps, particularly on a circuit like this. But I tell you what, this is drive of the season from Justin Rem in the 912 machine, the man from Alberta, doing a brilliant job here. He's got Costa and Osland right behind him, but defending very, very well here indeed. But I think we have to maybe watch what Henrik Lichtenhagen's doing. You know, he's in the number 55 machine. He's 18.5 seconds back from the winner. From the leader, sorry, my apologies. But he's less than 2 seconds, now only 1.8 seconds behind the man in 10th. And of course, the man in 10th as that last spot in the feature, which I'm sure he would like to relieve him of.
Well, no spoilers about Alexander Thief, Peter. No spoilers about
this is a live broadcast, yeah.
But no, yeah, that's an interesting position for Lichtenhagen to be in. On one side, you want to avoid that consolation race by any means whatsoever, because then you just have to get your hands dirty. And although Lichtenhagen will have the prime position for that, he must be wondering, yeah, but what if something goes wrong? And that's a real possibility with the consolation race. So might as well try and get whatever you can in the heats itself. And for that, he'll have to line up a challenge for Tobias Meisel, but that's for later on. For now, we have to focus on this battle between Rem, Costa and Austin. And I thought Justin Rem had done a good job so far in this season, but I was slightly mistaken. Rem has had a bit of a torrid one, with his highest finish only being P number 18. But as you rightly mentioned, Peter, that change in livery has just changed around his fortunes, it seems. Right now, Rem is a reborn driver. He's currently in P4, and even though he's got one Pascal Costa right behind, it doesn't seem to phase him at all.
Absolutely, yeah. It's obviously joined a new team, the SDK Gaming team, run by Apex, and yeah, I think certainly there's a lot of PorscheSport Carrera Cup talent there that that could trade secrets on setup and what have you. So that's certainly helping, but I don't think that alone is the result. It's amazing how important the mental side of it is in motorsport. And Justin Rem has had good pace, but he's often got himself involved in incidents, but not so today. He is doing an absolutely magnificent job in 4th place right now in the 912 machine, which actually that number, a 912 on a Porsche, for a man from North America, it's a very successful number. Of course, 912 winning the IMSA WeatherTech Championship in the GTLM class with two of my favourite drivers, El Bamber and Lawrence Van Tor. With the help of, now was it Frederick MacKay who was their co-driver in the endurance races? I can't remember. I feel embarrassed now.
Yeah, that number 912 makes you feel slightly bad because it won't be racing in IMSA next year. Lots of manufacturers withdrawing from sports car racing around the world, but worry not, sim racing is always there to help us out. And a very interesting fact pointed out by our producer Arjuna Kankipati, who is quite a sim racing enthusiast himself. Lockwood actually had a brilliant round at Zandvoort in the Porsche Esports Super Cup for RaceKraft Esports. They are a very well-run organization who are constantly diving down to the data side of things, trying to find improvements here and there. Lockwood had a brilliant round at Zandvoort, but after that, the spark wasn't quite ignited. And so he'll be trying to get a better run right here in preparation for PESC in Monza as well. Here we come then, there's a move happening at the top. It's Pascal Costa pressurizing Justin Rem. It's a tricky place to pass, Pascal. Almost gets spun around. Sheesh. How did he keep it clean?
I would love to get an onboard there from Robin Osland's car, because I don't know if there was contact between Osland and Costa. The way that Costa's car reacted, it looked like it maybe would do, as Brian Lockwood uses that same move again. We should call that Lockwood corner for the night. We can give him temporary ownership of that corner. It's a little bit, because normally that is, now that one is bend.
Wow.
That one is bend 9, so we'll call that one Lockwood bend. That sounds much better.
And now Lockwood is under pressure. He's going side by side right here for the 12-13 chicane, and he gets the move done. Oh, Brian Lockwood, you daring soul.
Yep, he's making a great move here. So it's funny that, isn't it, Soumil? For Brian Lockwood, he's probably thought, right, I've got a great setup that works here. I've competed here and done very well at the very highest level of sim racing. Here, let's get on with this and let's have a good run. And he is just driving with such confidence as we get a replay here. I think this is of the whoa! Get on there, Michael Pedersen. Well, he's running the 199, the number of American stunt driver and motocross champion Travis Pastrana. And Travis would be proud of that one. Well, apart from the end part of it, but get the still photograph. That is the joy of a still photograph. You could get a brilliant oversteer shot there and just pretend you saved it.
Well, for all the folks at the WIP Volante Racing team, that is going to be one for the social media. But no, sadly, on a more serious note for Pedersen, slightly unfortunate for him to get that spin in. He will have to go to the Consolation as it stands in P number 11. And yeah, that drops him out of the top 10. That's going to be hurting him a bit. Again, not the worst place to be in, because then you start at the head of the Consolation Race, and Lockwood sends it. Lockwood is just found the gap and the grip and the pace everywhere. And he's into P number 4. The Porsche Esports Super Cup driver for Team RaceKraft Esports is just having all the pace in the world.
This is incredible driving from Brian Lockwood. Drive of the day so far. I feel like we're not doing justice to our leaders, Alexander Teeb and Maxim Ramstein, but they are obviously driving the perfect race out the front. But oh my goodness me, Brian Lockwood is the star driver, but just charging through the pack. But as you can see here, here are our two championship protagonists. Alexander Teeb leading by 2.4 seconds from Maxim Ramstein. And we've seen this so many times, Soumil, is the consistency of both of them, but particularly Alexander Teeb, is just mind-blowing.
Well, there's a reason why Team Redline is one of the top teams in the world, as Robin Austin goes slightly wide heading into Tarzan Corner, loses a bit of time. Well, the level of consistency in the performance that these top teams maintain is simply unreal, and their iRating just gives you a perfect idea. I mean, Alexander Teeb, he's got 7,696 iRating. That's 7,696 more than I have, but still, it's an outrageous number if you're new into sim racing. It shows you why these drivers are in the top slots. But hey, Teeb aside, Ramsey aside, let's focus on Rem and Costa. Brian Lockwood may have gotten ahead, but these two guys will keep on trading blows.
Yeah, for Brian Lockwood, I mean, it's unlikely in the next 2.5 minutes that he's going to catch up with Justin Tipton. So he'll probably just try to get himself a little bit of a cushion here and then just settle in for 4th place. I don't think he's going to go crazy to try and close down Tipton, who's 5 seconds up the road. You're not going to close that gap down without Tipton making a mistake. So, I mean, what a performance though from Lockwood. And while he's going to start in the top 8 in the feature race, it would look like. So going to be really, really excited to see what he can do from there. But this battle between, well, another Renaissance man, Justin Rem in the 912 Porsche with the 801 of Costa behind, but I'm not sure who's going to take this. But coming back to, we mentioned Henrik Lichtenhagen, who was sitting on the bubble. Well, that incident from Michael Pedersen dropped him out, and therefore Lichtenhagen inherited that crucial spot in the feature race.
Now then, 1.5 minutes left till the end of heat number 1. These guys are still going nose to tail for quite a long while. Justin Rem maintaining the position, but Costa is 1. Will not let go of this battle rather easily as we come towards turn number 3. He will keep on pressurizing. And Robin Austin says, hey folks, you enjoyed this party? Mind if I join in as well?
I think Robin Osland is just keeping a little bit of a safe distance, making sure he's got the best grandstand view, because looking at the moment of Costa's following distance to Rem, he's using the British Touring Car Championship following zone, or the Audi driver on the outside lane of the motorway following zone. Apologies. So I think Osland's just being very canny here, to use a Scottish expression. He's sitting in 7th, he's in the feature race safely, and I think he will, as I say that, he nearly runs into the path of Costa, but I just think he's just keeping his powder dry and seeing what unfolds in front of him.
And now Osland having to trail behind. Just all these drivers are now maintaining a bit of a social distancing of sorts as the gap has opened up a little bit. And Osland is trying to close that down as he attacks every single one of those corners. You can see the drivers using every single inch of the circuit, naturally trying to get the best of it. And of course, they want to use the circuit, want to get the best lap times. And now, folks, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 will go the timing beam, and white flags in the air. It's the final lap for Alexander Teeb and for these guys as well.
So let's see if we can pick up our leader wherever he is on track. So just at the first opening sector, just after the Gelf box, up towards the Rob Slotemacher box. I'm going to get absolutely killed by all the Dutch fans listening. I spent many a happy year in the Netherlands. Went there about 10 times a year in my previous life as a booze peddler, and absolutely loved it. It's like a second home to me, the Netherlands, mainly because of the fast food choices, of course, and the beer, excellent beer, and fries, they're also good too. Actually, there's quite a lot of good things about the Netherlands, and some amazing fast racing drivers as well, of course, one of which, Jeroen Blekemolen. Oh dear, dear, dear. What has happened to Pascal Costa? Well, I must be honest, Soumil, that looked like that one was in the post. Oh, that's a huge lunge, and he's taken Justin Rem with him. Oh, how on earth did Justin Rem keep that one out the barrier? I tell you what, we'll get a replay of that after the race if we can, folks. But here comes Alexander Teeb circling around Arie Luijendijk corner for the final time then. So his evening starts in perfect fashion. Pole position, heat race win, which will give him pole position for the feature race. Your winner then, the world's fastest physiotherapist, Alexander Teeb for Team Redline, with Maxim Ramstein, the local man, right behind. So, I think, let's get another look at this. Pascal Costa really, gets a lump over the curb. To be honest, a gap that wasn't really there anyway. And then somehow, by I'm sure, immense skill and a little bit of luck, Justin Rem somehow keeps the car in a straight line. Costa goes into the barrier. And what did I say about Robin Ostland, the man from Gavel? As others went in the gravel, round he went, and he managed to pick up 2 places there by just keeping himself safe. So, a thrilling finish there to the opening heat race, Soumil.
Oh, absolutely. What a race it was in the end. Let's kind of do a bit of a prediction about the conversation that Pascal Costa will be having with Justin Rem right there. Bizarre incident not bizarre, I mean, that's what happens when you go side by side at that part of the circuit, but nevertheless, dramatic race with Alexandre Matib steering clear from all the trouble behind him to take home yet another heat win. Man, when this guy gets going, he gets going really fast.
He certainly does, that's for sure. But Maxim Ramstein right there to pounce should Alexander Teeb make any even slight mistake. Another solid run from Justin Tipton, Mr. Pink Wheels in the number 2 RaceKraft esports car, rounding out the podium. So as quick as that, we're ready to go for Heat Race 2. If you're new to the PorscheSport Carrera Cup, first of all, welcome, but this is what it's all about. Quick. Dylan Burse on pole position in the number 68 machine, with Sam Kuitert, the Dutchman, right behind in the number 28. Watch for Kuitert. Kieran Harrison, HM Engineering, starts in 3rd, with Quentin Villate in 4th. Row 3 will be Espen Erlandson and Jordan Weeks. Row 4 will be Artem Grabau, the lawmaker, alongside Jose Manuel Padin. Row 5 will be Oscar Wilkins and Thomas Goldelion. Row 6 will be Ivo Laubscher, or Positively Racing, and Ryan Parkins, the King Hippo himself. Kirill Kolobuksov will start off from 13th alongside Martin Donati, followed by Ivan Harasta and Jacob Robotham. And then finally, on the 9th row of the grid, Clement Andriot and Dane Baird, who did not set times, but I suspect Disco Dane Baird has not qualified on purpose for the Hard Charger Award.
Well, that's one approach, if there is any.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see that Kairos competition car hopefully coming through the field. Hopefully Dane doesn't put as many people on the roofs as he did last time. I almost gave him the nickname GCB Baird last time around as our drivers. Look at that wonderful collection of cars there.
Oh, yeah.
And all the kinds of different liveries, all colours of the rainbow here at Zandvoort. And we are waiting for our drivers all to finally take their grid spots, and we will be ready to go for another 20 minutes of frantic racing here in the PorscheSport Carrera Cup. Many thanks to our sponsors PorscheSport, and also thanks to Strasser. Big shout out to Strasser, the guys in Yorkshire looking for a new Porsche. Give them a call. So our drivers engaged, launch control, and off they go, opening up nearly 500 horsepower apiece. Good start from Ryan Parkins there on the outside there, but is Dylan Burse going to make it into turn 1 safely? Sam Kuitert goes straight up the inside. Can he make it stick? He looks like he will when the camera pans around. We'll see. Yes, he has. The Dutchman, Sam Kuitert. Well, you've got on the podium here in a very high-level Formula 3 sim race here with some real-world Formula 2 and Formula 3 drivers, so he knows the place well. And we see Laubscher just going a little bit slowly there in the 46 machine, just maybe made a mistake. Got 2 HM Engineering cars there as well in 5th and 6th place. Good, clean start to the race.
Good clean start in the end indeed. Laubscher tries to go down the inside of the 225 of Ryan Parkins' King Hippo. They're going door to door past the long right-hander, and Laubscher bullies his way around to get that position. He had a bit of a bad start going wide at turn 3, but Ryan Parkins is going to fight back. At the top I see Kieran Harrison looking for something, as we see another one of his HM Engineering teammates go side by side. Look at this for second place. Dylan Burse and Quentin Villate, 2 big names in sim racing, were making the news everywhere going side by side. Oh, man. Close, and someone's been pushed wide. It's Villate, and he rejoins the drama.
Oh, well, I tell you what, Villate is known for being pretty aggressive, and we've seen that a couple of times here in this championship. And I tell you what, that was amazing evasive driving there from Dylan Burse. Really did well to avoid the incident. He'll be really frustrated to lose a couple of spots there, but at least he kept the car with no damage, no contact, and will be able to carry on, and he will get his chance to make amends, make no doubt about it. So Quentin Villate he's very much on the unpreferred line here out on the outside. You can try to get the switch back, and I think that was his idea. Locks up on the brakes there, as it's so easy to do, onto the grass, comes straight across, and how Dylan missed him, I'll never know, but really, really good evasive action there from Dylan Burst. Just coming back to Ryan Parkins and the 225 machine there. Now, Ryan races with a VR headset, a virtual reality headset, so it feels like you're in one of these Porsche Cup cars. And I tell you what, with Ivo Lobster running side by side with him, he must have felt like he'd gone back to his youth in a dodgy nightclub somewhere outside of London.
Exactly, and got rather dramatic with Ivo Lobster going side by side. And Lobster has the position done right now, but the crucial part, Peter, this battle is for the edge position. It's for P number 10. Now, Ryan Parkins, as it stands, will not make it into the feature race directly, but he's trying to correct that with a move on Ivo Lobster, who blocks it off. That's one of the Kairos cars playing around.
Now,
I'm afraid.
Is that Dane Baird? Is it? Oh, Dane. No, it's Ivan Harasta. It's his teammate. Ivan Harasta in the 63 machine. Apologies, Dane. He's not going to let me live that one down. Oh, my word. He nearly reverses back onto the track and punts his teammate off backwards. That would have gone down really, really well in the Kairos competition team bus. And I think he gets a big help there. Now, who was that? I'm trying to see the number there. I don't recognise the paint scheme. And, oof, Dane was very, reacting well there.
That must be Golden Land in the number 3 car.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's why the number was hard to see, because there's only one of them. As we see Dylan Burst. Do you think he's maybe... now, Dylan Burst will be used to the rough and tumble, because he gives... Oh, my word, that was a big punt there. The 959 car.
Jordan Weeks.
Oh, Jordan Weeks, one of our new HM Engineering recruits, HM Engineering 2. Oh, well. I think Dylan will be, he will be racing pretty aggressively right now because, Dylan, he's no stranger to hard racing. He races Hyundai XLs down in his native Queensland, and I can imagine that gets remarkably aggressive for cars like that, but he tries to go around the outside and yet just gives a little tap, and through he goes, another one on the way through. So that might give Dylan Burst a little bit of damage. We'll see how that one plays out. But I suspect Dylan is wanting to catch up with Quentin Villate to just give him a tap on the shoulder and then punch him in the nose when he turns round.
Well, that'll be quite an aggressive thing for him to do at the back. Ivo Lobster once again going side by side. That is, he's got one more position, has he? Not exactly. He's fighting with Critical Buxa from the Wild Animals team. And now Ryan Parkins says, hey, Ivo, while you fight for that, I'll get my position, because Lobster almost loses the rear end of his car. His tyre is just going through some excruciating pain. Parkins is going to attack, but not now. It seems he's just settled back and he stays behind. Riding on board, of course, with Ryan Parkins from the Porsche Sport team. He is looking for something on Ivo Lobster for the last couple of laps, but not materializing really. He's not really had that chance to put his nose in. He could go the way Dylan Burst did and try and send a move at Tarzan Bock, but I'm not sure the stewards will have the brightest of viewpoints for that. Remember, folks, live stewarding is on. The stewards are sitting behind and taking note of every single one of these things as Lobster sends one down the inside of Kirikola Buksov at Tarzan. Like Tarzan himself, he can bang on his chest and be proud of that move he's just made right here.
Oh, dearie me. I would tell you what, we need to really restrict ourselves from doing the Tarzan impression at some point. But I'd say I tell you what, I've watched Ryan run a lot of races and win a lot of races, and a lot of those in a reverse grid where he started from the back, and Ryan does not go for any silly moves at all. Any move he makes is really, really calculated. And normally that would be asking for a commentator's curse, but I am confident in this one. No, Ryan is, and I'm sure he won't let me down. But he's really, really clever, careful driver. And at the moment, we've seen Kolobuksov get into a lot of incidents throughout this championship. So giving him a little bit more of a wide berth is probably a good idea. And I think maybe just keeping his powder dry and waiting to see what happens in front of him would be wise indeed. But Ryan has got up into the 10th place, so he is now in the feature race as it stands, and I use the word as it stands very, very deliberately. As we see Ivo Lobster going up the inside again, that's going to slow them all. Oh, and there you go, Kolobuksov, big punt into the back of Ivo Lobster. They both get away cleanly. That's given Ryan Parkins the impetus. Is he going to put it round the outside at the Ari Lowendyke bend? Ari himself would be very proud of that. Oh, this is going to be tight. Oh, Ryan. Oh, that's why they call him the King, Hippo.
Nice, and got a Buksov defense for all his might. Here he goes again. Yes, again, Peter. Now Lopes with a bit of damage on his front bumper. He doesn't have a lot to do with this. Parkins goes to the inside. Kolobuksov blocks it off to the outside. Door-to-door action as we always get in the PorscheSport Carrera Cup. Who's it got? Who's it with the edge? It has to be Kolobuksov with the inside line for turn 3, but it's getting achingly close.
It is. Tell you what, Kolobuksov was fantastic there into Tarzan bend. Really late on the brakes. He had Ryan right up his inside and he broke late. Got a quick line, almost took the karting line around the outside. And yeah, really impressive there from Kirill Kolobuksov in the 555 Wild Animals machine. As they say, well, I tell you what, Zandvoort is just such a special circuit. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I actually don't know why that is, because I absolutely love it. It's just an amazing track. And there's so much history as well. You know, the first Grand Prix here was back in 1952. So it's brilliant that the circuit's been brought up to Formula One level, thanks to a lot of investment, with no small thanks to, with major thanks to the Dutch Prince, Bernard van Oranje, who has made a lot of investment and is a part owner in the circuit. But it's brilliant that they'll be able to have a 70th anniversary in 2 years' time of that opening Grand Prix, which was won by a long way by the great Alberto Ascari.
Well, one man who's taking the role of Alberto Ascari right here is Sam Coitert. As we see this battle between Dean Baird and Artem Grabau, Coitert at the top has got a gap of 1.7 seconds. The Dutchman at his home race is just dominating proceedings, and he could have won Kieran Harrison spoiling things away with a gap of 1.8 seconds between himself and Sam. Harrison, of course, has 11 minutes to close that gap down, but more importantly, he has to defend from Quentin Villate for the Prologue React Esports team. Now, one thing with Quentin Villate is, this is not the only car he races. He does a lot more championships, and he's also going to do, I think, the VCO Formula 3 series as well. So Villate knows a thing or two about aggressive racing. When he comes to the PorscheSport Carrera Cup, he always brings his aggressive game on the table, and the best part is, Harrison knows that. Harrison knows what to expect. So this battle is going to be rather spicy.
It definitely is, for sure. As we see, this midfield battle is always this way, isn't it, Soumil? As Ryan Parkins looks up the inside of Kolobuksov. Can he make it stick? Now, this is the thing. You can put it up the inside, but making it stick is another matter as they go side by side. This is where... Oh, now it's in instances like that, Soumil, where driving with a VR headset in your sim makes a huge difference because you can look across. No, really, you can, because it gives you so much better perception. I mean, on my sim at home, I only have one screen, so I'm like, is he inside? I have no idea. It's like driving when you're in a prototype. It's like driving in a prototype all the time.
No, exactly. It's a major thing. Normally, if you don't even have a PC fast enough, even pressing the R2 button just to look who's alongside can be a bit of a slow process. So racing side by side becomes a big problem. If you've got the VR, then everything is sorted in that case. You could come back with a big headache, but never mind. You're going to be with some perfect race awareness. And Peter, just to look, the observation that we can make from this one is the drivers are going extremely aggressive. I mean, we saw from the final corner, everyone getting on the grass. This shows you the way they are determined to get those positions in.
Yeah, Zandvoort is a real, although it's not a street circuit, it's a street fighter circuit. So you really got to drive aggressively around Zandvoort and really just hit your marks and go for it. And that has certainly been what it is, because there are just a no! Now who's that? Off has been Artem Grabau, the lawmaker, and that's one of the cast-out cars as well. I think that was Donati, I think.
And that's Andrio, I guess.
It's Andrio, sorry, I knew I would get the wrong one. Now, Dean Beard's already got damage on the front of his Porsche. He's got steering failure there, and then whack, Clement Andrio in the 37 cast machine. Well, he needs to cast a new bumper for that. Look, that is, oh dear. That is I think we'll be back live again. Yes, we are. We saw that there. Andrio reversed back into the path of the...
That was just one of the more bizarre incidents I've seen.
We are on a replay there. Now watch this. This is I'm not going to say amusing, but Mildly so. So Dane reverses back into the barrier, and then Dane's coming onto the track, and then whack! Oh, dearie me, dearie
Oh
me! And
my
it's like, you have
lord.
one, no, you have one. No, I'll see you in the parking lot afterwards for a punch up. Oh dear, dear,
Oh
dear.
man.
Right, we're back at the front, back towards the front, I should say. And Ryan Parkins, he's desperately trying to steal that 9th spot from Kola Buksov. Is he going to make it? Oh, he shows his nose. There, so he's using Ryan using the British Touring Car Championship following distance as well. They're right on the oil dipstick on that rear-engined Porsche 911.
Now think of it, if you're Thomas Goldeland, you're seeing these two guys scrap it all, have a proper street fight right ahead of you. You could, if you want, to go even faster and try and get your nose into this one. But would you really want to? Or do you want to be the third person watching the battle from the box office seat and letting them do their own thing, assuming that these two guys will crash and you get the honours? Now, it's a risky position because Thomas Goldeland wants to get in the feature race directly. As it stands, he won't be able to do that, but he is in a decent position to pick up the pieces if anything happens. And that is a big if. Normally you do expect some carnage and some drama, but the way these guys have been racing, you do expect them to keep it clean at the same time as well. So, bit of a perplexing situation if you're Goldeland right now. And what do you do if you're Kola Buksov? Do you attack? Do you defend? Where do you look out for? I think it's all based on the intent and what psychological approach he carries.
Well, I think Kola Buksov, he's right in the battle there, and I think you're probably not thinking so strategically, I guess, when you're there, and you'll know you're in the feature race. But he's constantly having to defend from Ryan Parkins, and he's maybe an opportunity might come up from Laubscher, but really you're looking back at the number 3 of Goldeland, and he's looking front, saying these guys for the last couple of laps they've been really aggressively, trying to make moves on one another. And if you're in Goldeland's position, you're probably with 6 minutes to go. You've got plenty of time to sit back and watch for a few laps, because remember, they hand the points out at the flag, and I think with the group of 4 cars very tight in front, you know that there's a chance that something could happen. So you think, well, I'll just keep, as long as you can hang on to the back of them, sometimes better just to keep the powder dry until the last moment when you need to make the move.
But would you really want to leave it that late? Because Zandvoort, that Zandvoort is a track where passing is a bit of a no-no at times. So it depends. It's an interesting thing. Normally you want to make your move at the right moment and shock your opponent, but at Zandvoort you don't quite have the luxury of that, sadly. And all that just means that you have to plan your moves delicately.
Laubscher's having a roll. Oh my word, that's a big accident there for Ivo Laubscher in the 46 Positively Racing machine. Sorry to cut you off there, Soumil. I just saw this pink, yellow and black. Oh, Kola Buksov. Well, he's the man with the JCB today. Wow, that was... Looked like Laubscher was having a slide there, was he? Yes, so he's losing the rear. The rear's coming around. He can't hold on to it. Kola Buksov, tries his best to slow down. And look who profited from that. Ryan Parkins hops up to 8th position.
Well, that scene is straight from a Bollywood movie. Cars flipping around. Man, Ivo Laubscher just got turned and turned. Well, I'm going to go and refer to my collection of internet memes today and call it that he just got rickrolled.
I'm gonna pretend I'm young enough to know what that means, Soumil. I feel like an old man now, but I understand the sentiment. Yes, yeah.
Rick Astley.
Yes. Well, he's never going to get back on his wheels the way he is there.
Oh my God!
That was a tenuous link, wasn't it? Now we do have Rolf Anderson, who ran in the championship earlier in the season, number 92. He 16 years old, and he is a big fan of the song Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley, so he would appreciate that reference indeed. So now look at the front of Kirill Kola Buksov machine. Now I tell you what, he's doing a great job to maintain this level of pace with a car that is well past its best.
Yeah, how is he keeping it just on the track is quite an achievement. Look at how battered and bruised it is, and I'm afraid I'll have to look away. It just pains me deep down in my heart to see a Porsche so badly broken up right now. But still, that does not dampen his spirits, Peter. Kola Buksov still wants to go for a move. And now, interestingly, Goldeland, who we were talking about a couple of laps ago about trying to make a move at the right time, suddenly finds himself in P number 9. And he so desperately would want to keep hold of that position because Oh, you're wondering on one side, yeah, they all go in the feature race, might as well drop that position and stay safe, but it's Zandvoort. And I know I've been saying this point multiple times, but passing here is not easy. So the higher up you qualify, essentially the better chance you have towards the end. And so Gulgalan must be desperately clinging on to that position.
Absolutely, yeah, indeed. As they come through with 3 minutes to go, Ryan Parkins looks to have gapped these guys. And, well, we come back again to the front battle. Sam Coitert in first place right now with Kieran Harrison just 0.8 of a second behind. And Kieran is quick in anything you put him in. He has just got quicker and quicker and quicker in this Porsche Cup car over the course of this season. And I watch Kieran quite a lot in an Audi RS3 touring car in a field of 60 cars with reverse grids and all sorts of things like that. And he has an excellent racecraft as well and very good pace. So this is, if he gets up to behind Sam Coitert, he'll give him a run for his money, make no mistake, and he appears just clawing him in nicely. Sam Coitert, though, he knows this place like the back of his hand. He'll have done real world racing here. He's a two-time karting champion here in the Netherlands, so he'll know his way around here, make no mistake about that.
But Kieran Harrison, of course, also a teammate of Maxime Ramstein, another home hero who's actually driven and ridden on Zandvoort quite a few times. So perhaps there may be a few swapping of tips in and around right here. Let's see how that goes out later on for these guys. But still, at the top, Coitert being reeled in by Harrison little by little. The gap is closing up to 0.6 of a second. What do you reckon, Peter? Do you think this gap is going to come down rather soon?
It would appear so. It's just whether this is the interesting paradox. This is what makes motor racing so fascinating, because really if you're looking from with a logical head on, like we are in our nice comfy commentary box in our homes, we can say, well, he doesn't need to win this race, he can finish second and he gets into the feature race with a nice grid position. But as we get told, and as we sort of get an impression of with our own amateur sim racing experts, we just can't help but go for the win. Yeah. And I'm sure that is exactly what Kieran Harrison's thinking. I'm going to have you. I'm going to get this win. He's not thinking about the feature race. He's not thinking about the championship. He's thinking about none of that right now. He's thinking, I can get this race win. I want to see the checkered flag first. And that's the whole reason why we're here. And that is what makes the top racers. It's that state of mind. And I'm sure that is what's going through Kieran Harrison. You just look at the body language of his car, hard on the brakes. And he's really pressuring, trying to fill Sam Coitert's mirrors. And he's doing a great job of that. And he's just chipping tenths away, and it looks like it's going to be very close for the white flag, very close indeed. I think they might just get over the line, so they might have Sam Coitert's going, please come out, checkered flag, come on. But I think they might have to go around for one more. We'll see. We'll get them across the line. We'll see.
No, they will have to go for one more. I don't think they'll be able to make it last so long till the finish line. So yeah, one more lap to go. I guess this will be the white flag lap, with Harrison chasing. Oh, look at the amount of lock he has to put into the car. This corner right here, the final corner, I'm afraid I can't properly pronounce the name well, but still, it's an amazing bit of track, the Aure-Lichtenberg corner. You just have to go really wide on your entry, try to get a good run in, and the car can just snap back all the time. It's amazing. Last lap then, will Harrison go for the gun? Will he pull the trigger? Get something on Sam Coitert, that's the question.
Arie Luijendijk.
Arie Luijendijk.
Arie Luijendijk, yes. He's an incredible driver. And I think we get a free pass, Soumil. I think we get. It's almost the rite of passage for a commentator to get people's names wrong.
Yeah,
you're not a proper commentator unless you've got somebody's name wrong and felt bad about it. So don't worry. So I tell you what. Speaking of fast Dutchman, well, Sam Coitert, he's responded. He's seen Kieran Harrison getting closer. He's seen that bright red HM Engineering car really pushing behind him, and he's thinking, okay, you want 100%? Here you go. And that is the quality of Sam Coitert. He's a really good driver. Again, very good across many disciplines. Looks like, heading into the final sector, looks like he might have this one sewn up, Soumil. I say that carefully.
Yeah, he actually has it in the bag from the looks of things. Past the final couple of corners, the Audi S's. Well, the home hero is on his way to win another one. Past the final corner, the Arie Luijendijk corner. I'm going to nail it this time out.
Hey.
Sam Coitert comes across. What a man, winning in heat number 2.
Yeah, brilliant drive from Sam Coiter. A home win. How good does that feel? And look at that, flashing the lights. He's happy with that one. Well done, Sam. And well done, Kieran Harrison, pushing him all the way. Speaking of, look at King Hippo. Ryan Parkins in the 225 machine, putting some heavy pressure here on Jose Manuel Padden, but he's just going to run out of time. But a brilliant drive from Ryan Parkins, and he'll get straight on through to the feature race. Ooh, that was a real thriller again, Soumil, and well, it's just what we've come used to here in the PorscheSport Carrera Cup.
There's no need to be surprised because we get it all the time, and that's why I love this series. And it makes me a bit sad to realize that it's the second last round of this championship. But hey, let's focus on the good points. Let's focus that we have a consolation race and another feature race coming all the way through, and that is going to be rather spicy.
This is where we start up. Hashtag win season 2.
Yes.
Campaign. Tweet it to us. Hashtag PorscheSport Cup. Tweet us on the social media as well, as we see our race results confirming Sam Coitert. My turn to get a name wrong. Sam Coitert in the 28 car, winning by just 0.6 of a second from Kieran Harrison. On the podium, Quentin Villate, so edging out Dylan Burst by quite a margin after their little skirmish early on in the race. Fifth was Jordan Weeks for HM Engineering 2, and Oscar Wilkins was 6th, followed by Jose Manuel Padden. Ryan Parkins in the 225 Porsche Sport Machine gets home in 8th, with Thomas Gildeline in 9th, and Kirill Kolobuksov, despite all that damage, which was not his fault, gets into the last spot on the feature race. Brilliant stuff. So now, time for the consolation race, and this is always a lot of fun. Starting on pole position for the feature race will be Michael Pedersen in the 199 machine, followed by Martin Donati. Row 2 will be Lewis Ward and Artem Grabau. Row 3 will be Ross Yost alongside Dane Baird of Kairos Competition. Gavin Halls will start 7th for Porsche Sport beside Ivan Harasta, the other Kairos Competition there. Hugo Gallo will start from 9th with Ivo Lobsher in 10th. Rasmus Busk will start 11th with Clement Andriot in 12th. And we have a few more. Martin Spalek, Jacob Robotham, Karsten Van Eyck and Espen Erlandson. So 16 drivers, only 10 get a spot in the feature race, Soumil. So there is a lot on the line here for these drivers.
And that just means that the drivers will be ever so excited, on their toes at all times to try and make good moves. I don't know about anything, but this surely is going to be a very, very interesting consolation race. Just the sheer number of cars that we're going to have here at Zandvoort is going to be a spectacle in itself. But if that's not enough, the racing will just be even better.
Well, let's see our drivers engaged. Launch control. The lights are up. And we will be about to go as the drivers are go here for the consolation race at Zandvoort. And Gavin Halls, the vampire, is in a hurry in the number 38 machine, and he's made up a whole heap of places. He's up to 5th position already. Brilliant stuff from the number 38, Gavin Halls. As we see the two Kairos Competition cars, Dane Baird gets ahead of his teammate Ivan Harasta, and oh, big crash from one of the Whoop.com, well, Whoops.com it is again. That is Ross Yost, who has put it in the wall there, the number 66. And if he avoided anybody else there, he did really well if he did, because he was broadside coming across the track. So hopefully not any damage, but you see the 199 of Michael Pedersen leads away for WIP.com Villate Racing. So a tale of two different fortunes for that team here, as we see these guys clearly in a very, very racy mood at the front here, trying to make their way to the front of this consolation race to try and give them the best possible grid position for the feature.
Well, someone's having a good day while the others are not. The number 17 goes side by side right here. Donati looking for something on Artem Grabau. Grabau gets the position in by getting the superior line, and Donati has to wait back. Donati, of course, very aggressive driver, but now has to do the dirty work of defending as Lewis Ward sends one down the inside. and he gets the position in before the final corner. That is a very smartly executed move, with Lewis Ward smartly realizing that, well, if Donati is getting a bit loose, might as well send it down the inside. Oh, one of the HM engineering cars. Oh, the Skyros combination. That is bizarre. Straight at the pit lane, Ivan Harasta.
That is Ivan Harasta. That was... He's trying to emulate a Ken Block video there, trying to skid it sideways through the pit lane. But let's see what happened then. He just got wide on the exit of the Ari Lowendyke corner. It's it's left, right, tank slapper, bang. Oh my word, that's a scary one. Ivan Harasta, well, that was a big one. And well, that's why that particular corner is named after Ari Lowendyke. It needs so much. Don't worry, it's a replay, Soumil. Don't worry. I had the same reaction. I nearly lost my tea as well. But I tell you what, Ross gets a huge help there from Clement Andriot. I mean, nothing he could have done there. And, that will just be devastating. Third corner of the Consolation Race, and he gets unceremoniously nerfed straight into the barrier from Clement Andriot. I suspect the Simpower stewards might have a word to say about that one.
Well, they already have, and they've given a drive-through penalty to Clement Andriot for that incident. So the stewards have been very quick in making their decisions. And Andriot has to take a drive-through penalty. It's not the longest of pit lanes, mind you, but still, it's something. Artem Grabau taking a trip to the sand dunes of Zandvoort. Not in a rather good way. He doesn't have his beach umbrella and his sunscreen along with him, but he just does a bit of a Ken Block, comes out on the gravel and loses a couple of positions, but still finds himself in P number 7. It's good enough for Artem Grabau. He still is in the order. And we see ahead Dane Baird coming under pressure from Rasmus Busk for the HM Engineering 2 team. Now, Rasmus is part of a top team here. He's looking to make a lunge on Dane Baird, who locks up slightly. And Rasmus is up ahead. So drama everywhere. And in fact, Peter, another piece of news was that Ivo Lobsha, after he got turned over and around, has missed this race, and so has Espen Erlandson, who also missed the start for his heat.
Yeah, and there's obviously something going on there, but we must also say on a happier note, a belated 18th birthday to Dane Baird, and his parents very kindly got him a set of triple screens for his sim, and if you're not sure what that means, it's effectively like to basically simulate a wraparound kind of screen. And so he should be going at least 2.5 seconds a lap faster with those new fancy screens. But he's certainly doing a good job right now, up in 6th position, riding on board with the 222 of Busk in the new HM Engineering 2 team, the AlphaTauri of the HM Engineering crew, as we see Gavin Halls there trying to defend 4th place right now. And he's got Martin Donati next up. Can he make an impression on Donati in the 17 car?
Well, that goes on. Well, there's a bit of sad news for Carlos competition. No,
indeed. We'll get a replay of that, but the result is the 222 of Busk and Gavin Halls. I tell you what, must have dropped 10 mirrors simultaneously, because if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all. Let's see what happens to Gavin Halls, the vampire. It's because we're racing in daylight, he doesn't like it. So he sees Rasmus...
I got loose in the back.
Oh my word, I mean, that was... Rasmus lost it on the braking and just ploughed into the... Oh, if you get a good still shot there, we get a good look of Veloce driving on the back of sponsor of Gavin's, on the back of the car. My co-host on the PorscheSport podcast, Kat Impey, that's her company. Oh my goody aunt, that would have felt. I tell you what, yeah, Gavin uses a direct drive wheel. He would have felt that through his arms.
No, I think what happened with Busk is he tried to go a bit too hard under the brakes, and when he stamp it and stomp it really hard, the car can turn from the rear at times. That incident is behind us. What's ahead of us is this battle between Ross Jost and Hugo Gallo. This is for P number 9. The spot on the very edge. So these guys don't have much to worry about unless they take each other out, which I hope doesn't happen, because they are currently in the top 10 and they will go to the feature. And Hugo Gallo is way behind. In fact, it's Ross Jost in the WIP Volante car trying to attack Robotham up ahead in P number 8. This is going to be something interesting. WIP Volante, of course, having 3 cars in this particular... 2 cars in this one. It's a tale of 2 coins for them, because... Well, Sam Coit had a good one in this, and then we saw another one of the Volante cars going a bit wide earlier, and that was Ross himself. So, time for a bit of a comeback here.
Certainly is indeed, yes. Jost is off straight away there. Ross Jost. Now, he's still in 10th place. He's got a 13.6-second gap back to Busk in 11th. So, just loses it on the weight transfer. And Soumil, that's so typical part of a Porsche Cup car accident, because there's so much weight at the very rear of the car.
Yeah.
When the car starts to pendulum, that tank slapper that you get is just horrible, and trying to catch it is not nice at all. So now I wonder if Gavin Halls is still in the race. He's now showing us 2 laps down. It was 1 lap down, so I suspect he might have parked it, but maybe it would be a good idea to get back out there, because of course 10 drivers get through to the feature race. So for Gavin, he might, if he can get the car back out there, you never know, he might sneak a spot in the feature. Who knows? We'll see.
Also, news coming up that Ivan Harasta has been disqualified for reversing in the pit lane. So after that big shunt that he had a few minutes ago, he's also been disqualified from this one. So it's day over for the second Kairos competition car, as well as we see Dane Bird. Oh my God, Dane Bird under some pressure from Spalek at the back. Now, Dane was flashing his headlights a few minutes ago when he saw a few incidents right ahead of him. So he certainly had a bit of a busy one so far, but the gaps have opened up, and now it is Spalek with Karsten Van Eyck for WRB Volante behind. That aside though, bit of a battle going on at the top with Grabau and Donati punching each other. Donati for, of course, the Cars team, and Grabau for Wild Animals. Will they be running wild here at Zandvoort? The result certainly seems to be in their favour from the looks of things.
Artem Grabau seized that 3rd position very nicely from Martin Donati, and Grabau, he's nicknamed the Lawmaker. He is laying down the law right now, claiming a podium spot here in the feature race. But Dane Baird is getting himself into a bit of a battle here. He's dropped back to 7th momentarily, so I think he's maybe made a mistake there, because he's now gone behind Karsten Van Eyck and Spalek. So something's gone on there, but Karsten Van Eyck makes a mistake and then gets the cut back in the Kairos competition machine. Very distinctive grey, pink and green colour scheme. I've actually seen their colour scheme. It looks fantastic on the new Dallara LMP2 car. There's plenty of space certainly for it on that car.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful looking LMP2 car. Now Dane is not happy. Dane is rather frustrated. Another piece of news that has just come in is, we'll speak about that news later on, because Dane, that was the mistake. Getting a wheel or two on the gravel. That's why he lost the momentum. That's why he went behind and had to fight for the position the way he did on the entry. The classic Porsche tank slapper. Dane Baird learned it the hard way.
Dane Rallycross Beard was all.
Yes.
Dane Rallycross Beard was all over that. We know Dane loves his rallycross, and he's done some great rallycrossing impressions in this series, hasn't he? Was just some of these insufferable car journalists that call it a dab of Oppo. Which means a little bit of opposite lock to stop. Yes, yeah. Which is, it's just a really, really naff way to say it.
Well, that aside, there's a bit of sad news if you're Busk right now, because he's been given a drive-through penalty for causing a collision, the one that we saw early on, and the Audi SS. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Pedersen in the pits. Why is that?
Oh dear.
Okay, so Michael Pedersen, that has to be the final corner.
Oh my word, that's a huge accident. Well, I suspect after that one he knew he would need to come into pit lane, but he will. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Soumil, our drivers have an iRacing fast repair. Is that correct, from my memory?
Well, we haven't really faced a need for it, so I don't quite remember, but give me a minute and I'll quickly dig through the documents to find that out. But Pedersen, oh dearie me. The roll cage will be shattered, yeah.
Lewis Ward did an amazing job there, because it was very hard to predict where, the impact was so big there that it was so tricky to kind of decide where he was going to go for Michael Pedersen there. When he's spinning across the track, which way was he going to bounce off the wall? It was so hard to tell. So, Lewis Ward now in the lead, the man in the number 97 machine for Maniti Racing. His favourite car, well, he has expensive taste, that's for sure. A Ferrari 250 short wheelbase.
Wow, that's a rather exquisite car, isn't it? So all the drivers here certainly have got their tastes quite sorted out, and they know exactly what makes for a rather gem of a car. And Now, Peter, I've just gone through the documents and the drivers do not have any fast repairs. So, Pedersen has quit the session. Essentially, we have our 10 drivers locked in for the feature race. It's been a race of attrition so far. And this battle that we're seeing right here is between Hugo Gallo and I think, oh no, Jacob Rowbotham getting a bit naughty on the exit. Hugo Gallo with barely anywhere to go, so he just had to dab on the brakes a little bit. Now he gets the run on the outside line. Is he going to send it at Tarzan? Is he going to smack his chest like a wild animal and get that position? No, he isn't. Not for now, at least.
No, and I tell you what, the wonderful... wonderful Dempsey Proton tribute livery there from the number 7 of Rowbotham, with he's got Gallo right behind him trying to get by. No such luck, as you said, Soumil. There are a couple of places where you've got to really, there aren't many places to overtake at Zandvoort, but the ones where you do, they are really good opportunities. Obviously, coming into Tarzan is one of them. You get a chance to line it up on the brakes. There's quite a long braking zone there. But particularly, I think the most important one I would say is formerly turn 9, and for tonight only, the Lockwood corner. So Brian Lockwood putting a lot of moves. This one right here, there's lots of lines through here. Now you can attempt to move and you can get it half done, but getting the door slammed shut and finishing the move, that's the tricky part, because there's so many lines where you can cut back and get the drive out the corner.
Exactly. It's a tricky circuit with lots of different characteristics. Now, the move was coming almost, we thought, from Hugo Gallo. Not quite getting in there. Gallo trailing behind, looking for where Jacob Rowbotham will make a mistake. Now, that's one thing that racing drivers do. They keep on watching, they keep analysing the performance of the drivers right ahead. And now Gallo tries to make a lunge down the inside of the Ari Loenberg corner. Puts his nose in the right place. Not good enough. Uses a bit of the curbs. Now, this is the onboard that you need to watch. Gallo comes up. Gallo goes side by side. And he lunges. Forces his way past almost Hugo Gallo. He's a bold and daring driver, but so is Jacob Rowbotham. He's got the better run towards turn number 3, Jacob. And he's got the edge this time. Dear me, Peter, when do we not have a boring race here? When do we have a boring race here? It's almost always brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, that move that Gallo made but didn't quite get done, I tell you what, his driving is just... Well, his driving has been as good as the wines of the same name are bad. I mean, I don't know if you had them over in Mumbai, Soumil, but Gallo wines, truly awful.
Oh, well, sadly, you haven't really got on here in Mumbai.
You're not missing anything. So, now, here we go. Go on.
And I'm not old enough to drink wine as well, so I probably won't know.
You should come and live in Scotland. That's never got in the way of anybody. That was a joke. So you see the 23 of Gallo really putting some hard pressure on here with 5 minutes to go. Now, it's easy to say, yep, the top 10 is solidified, but this is like a qualifying race now. It's like a Super Pole race now, Soumil, where every spot is another crucial step forward for a grid spot in the feature race.
It absolutely is, and now Hugo Gallo wants one position better. Hitting all the apexes, getting loose slightly on the exit of the curb. That car can be slightly leery over there. Lining it up on the edge, putting a bit of opposite lock. Nice and clear then. So, Hugo Gallo versus Jacob Rowbotham. Round number 20-odd something coming up. Here comes Hugo Gallo once again. Is this going to be the move when he finally gets it done? Bit of lock, slight smoke from the tyres. Rowbotham goes wide, and Gallo at last is up into P7, Peter. That took a long while, didn't it?
It did indeed. As we see, I'm looking at the brilliant chat going on our broadcast, our in-race broadcast chat on YouTube. Do give us your thoughts on there, and hello to everyone commenting on this wonderful race. PorscheSport team boss Luke Holroyd, and our very generous sponsor for this series, he has simply said, Gavin Halls, this is what we're talking about, Gavin has gone for a quiet walk. I think to decompress after his slightly difficult day at the office, shall we say?
Slightly is a bit of an understatement, mate.
Yes, well, understatement of the day goes to me then, Soumil.
Yeah, it just got flipped over and did a Richard Hammond. Can I call it that way? I think he did a Richard Hammond there. Not by himself, but still.
Yeah, you're far more pleasant company than he is, Soumil. So, 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go. You'll notice when I say something inappropriate, I say the time of the race left to go to try and distract from my silly comments. As you see now, look at that. The 23 of Gallo, he's really putting the hammer down now, isn't he? He's pulled already at 1.7 seconds from Robotham, so he's really on a charge.
Well, he actually is, and now it's time for a few replays because there have been quite a few things going on at the track. So that was the early incident with Ivan Harasta. So gets on the wall, just gets very leery on the exit, very wide. And so he tried to replicate the most world-famous iRacing video of all time, the one where he directly tried and make a pit stop from spinning around. But sadly for Ivan, the wall at Zandvoort is slightly curved, so you can't get a direct entry, unlike Lime Rock Park. Then, of course, the incident involving Busk, where he just punted one of the PorscheSport drivers. That would be Gavin Halls. He got a drive-through penalty for that. Couple of crashes here and there, and it's been dramatic all the way through.
My favourite comment in the YouTube chat. Oh, I get a fright there, and that was the amazing side swipe move there from the 97 of Lewis Ward, doing very well to avoid the spinning Michael Pedersen. But yes, my favourite YouTube comment while we're looking at some of these incidents on track is from Matthew Crisp, who says that Gavin Hall should maybe put the sponsor logos upside down next time for the race. So when he's on his roof, he'll still be getting exposures for his sponsors, which is quite a clever idea.
Well, Crispy always coming up with the goods in the YouTube comments. He's quite an amazing person to work with, honestly, Crispy. Just very articulate, very sharp with his comments, and he's really entertaining. And he's certainly delivering in the YouTube comments, isn't it? And now, Busk is under pressure from Jacob Robotham. Nice. There's drama everywhere.
Yeah, I tell you what, there certainly is, and these all mean grid positions. That's the really important part to this. So let's see. Busk on the move back. He obviously had that incident earlier on, and that's put him a little bit out of sequence, shall we say. Now, as we see the number 97 Lewis Ward, I think this will be the final lap now. I'm pretty sure, but we will confirm closer to the time. But yes, brilliant drive from Lewis Ward, and did really, really well to avoid that incident with Michael Pedersen.
Absolutely. Lewis Ward has just been on top of his game right here. Wasn't really leading, but when the incident happened, he was there to pick up the pieces and actually make the best avoidance that I've probably seen for quite a long while, because he saw, okay, that aside, Clement Andrieu has had a bit of a moment here. Time for a quick replay then. So, final corner it is, gets a good exit. He's got a slightly damaged front bumper, if you can notice. Slip and slide, fast and furious Zandvoort drift. Ending with a hole of the size of a crater on the surface of the moon on his tyre. Big flat spot indeed.
I've just got one slight problem now, Soumil. It's just come to me that you know how the one of the most famous logos in motorsport is the Michelin Man. And the Michelin Man, if you ever feel sad, just look at the Michelin Man. He's the happiest guy in the world. He's got a big thumbs up. He's like, we make brilliant tyres and we're making loads of money. So I'm very happy as the company mascot as we see Lewis Ward comes over the line, the number 97, leading by 6.7 seconds. Fantastic stuff with Artem Grabau coming over the line in second place. But if Gavin Halls is going to have his sponsors upside down, then, well, the Michelin Man will have a thumbs down.
Absolutely. Michelin Man, of course, quite an iconic figure, but what's even better right now is that Lewis Ward comes home to take a super victory. Very calm and composed he was all the time, as we see the Kairos car cutting the lawn, becoming a bit of a lawn mower right here. But man, brilliant racing all the way through. This was brilliant. Let's bring it on. Let's bring on the final here.
And we see Dane Baird, he just can't help it but drive on some loose surface. He's doing some donuts in the gravel trap out the back of the Tarzan bend. Fantastic stuff. I always like those alternative. You see the town of Zandvoort there? This is the back of shot.
Yep.
Beautiful seaside town. You can go down there and, like you say, lovely fresh fish kibbling. Well, lovely fresh fish, which is wonderfully deep fried to make it even tastier. So, it's nearly time for the feature race, but our driver's going to get a quick warm-up before this. But before that, let's have a run-through of the results. Lewis Ward then wins from Artem Grabau by 6.6 seconds, with Martin Donati finishing in third. Martin Spalek finished fourth, with Karsten van Eyck in fifth. Dane Baird continuing his charge for the Hard Chargers trophy here in the PorscheSport Carrera Cup, finishing 6th, and will start 26th for the feature race. Hugo Gallo finished 7th, followed by Rasmus Busk, Jacob Robotham, and finally Clement Andriot, a minute back from the leader, but crucially will get a grid spot for the feature race, where all the big points are handed out, Soumil.
Yes, indeed. The feature race is where all the drama really spices up. Everything gets so interesting in this part of the race. That is when everything stirs up. And let's actually take a bit of a breather. Let's actually think about what to expect from this one, Peter, because now we've got yet another battle between Ramstein and Teeb. Zandvoort, as we've mentioned, can be tricky to pass, but these guys, as we saw in Road America, that does not dampen their spirit at all.
Definitely not. I mean, at Road America, that was the real blockbuster battle, wasn't it, between Maxim Ramstein and Alexander Teeb. I tell you what, I nearly lost my voice that day. That was incredible.
Yes.
And the other races have been, certainly between Teeb and Ramstein, have been very much calculated, clever affairs, because both of them make so few mistakes that when they're together in a sequence, it only takes, I mean, in that last race, they were separated by, in heat number 1, when they were together, they were separated by 2.1 seconds over the whole race. So they must have been a couple of hundreds a lap difference, which is nothing, of course, but over 20 minutes, it makes a big difference. Feature race is 30 minutes. That's another whole ball game, I think. And Alexander Teeb, we've seen him make one mistake all season, and that was at Interlagos on that the penultimate corner, and he paid for it handsomely. He lost that lead to Maxim Ramstein, who never let it go. And we remember, those who saw that race will remember Alexander's Teeb's, shall we say, his mood in the he wasn't moody, but he was not in his usual happy self after that race, and understandably so, Soumil.
Yeah, absolutely. Teeb sets really high standards for himself, and you kind of see it in the way he drives. Wasn't really the happiest person in the world, but that just shows you the kind of driver he is. Teeb wants more. He wants to get even harder every single time. That's why we love him. That's why he is where he is. But yeah, lots to expect in this battle. But Peter, what do you think about HM Engineering coming in with 2 new cars? That's something that shows that the series is booming and growing, even though we're here at the second last round now.
Absolutely, it's great to see them. HM Engineering, one of the real growing powers in sim racing, and they've had an amazing year in 2020, which of course has probably been the most competitive year ever in the history of sim racing, given the sheer growth in numbers that have come to the sport, which is great to see. But I tell you what, the new guys, they're going to get a real rude awakening here of the rough and tumble of the PorscheSport Carrera Cup as we see our grid coming up. Now, we've got our 2 championship protagonists there in the top 3. Alexander Teeb on pole, Maxim Ramstein in 3rd. But Sam Koiter, he is going to be the wild card in there, because he is fast around this Zandvoort circuit, as he is everywhere. All the big names have won here. Ascari, Fangio, Moss, Clark and Stewart. They've all won here. And, well, who is going to add their name to that very illustrious list of Zandvoort winners? Row 2, you'll see Kieran Harrison there in 4th as well. Watch out for him. On the third row of the grid will be Justin Tipton, Mr. Pink Wheels. You can't miss him. Quentin Villate in the opposite, in the dark black machine, the 991. He starts from 6th. Brian Lockwood, watch for him. Very impressive in his heat. He will start from 7th, with Dylan Burse in 8th, who has a score to settle with Quentin Villate. Row 5 will be Robin Osland and Jordan Weeks. Row 6, Justin Rem and Oscar Wilkins. Row 7 will be Alan Powell and Jose Manuel Padden. Row 8 will be Pascal Costa and Ryan Parkins, the King Hippo, in number 225 Porsche Sport machine. 17th will be Tobias Meisel alongside Thomas Guldelion. Hendrik Lichtenhagen will start 19th, with Kirill Kolobutsov, the wild animal, in 20th. 21st will be Lewis Ward, followed by Artem Grabau, Martin Donati and Martin Spalek. 25th on the grid will be Carson Ike, Dane Baird in 26th, Hugo Gallo will start 27th, and finally Rasmus Busk will start 28th in the 222 HM Engineering machine. And not finally, we have Jacob Robotham in 29th, and Clement Andriot in 30th. 30 strong grid. That is pretty busy around here at Zandvoort, Soumil, as our drivers are nearly ready to go. We'll wait to see the cars. You'll just see the cars twitch on their haunches here. That's the drivers engaging launch control, getting ready for the start of the race. These 911 GT3 Cup cars have that system. They get ready to go, poised for the feature race here in the penultimate round of the PorscheSport Carrera Cup. We are go, go, go. Great launch from Alexander Teeb in the Team Redline car. Looks like he's going to make it down to Tarzan first. He does. Now, who's going to get in there second? It's a battle side by side between Sam Koiter and Maxim Ramstein. Maxim Ramstein does not want to let Alexander Teeb get away, and he makes a brilliant move on Koiter. Will Koiter be able to counter? He goes and covers the inside line very nicely, and he will tuck in behind his championship rival. Brilliant start from Maxim Ramstein from third to second place.
But there's drama at the back because Dane Baird, one of our Racespot TV co-commentators, has also crashed in the back for Kairos competition. Ah man, their bad day is getting worse after Ivan Harastik got disqualified. Baird is in the wall now.
Oh, disaster for Dane Baird for Kairos competition. Not a good day for them indeed. You're right, Soumil. So you see, look at this field, fierce field of some of the fastest sim racers in the world, flowing through the Duneland section here. We've got a spinner, and oh, big hit there. I think that was the number 3 machine, Thomas Gildelion, getting put on his roof there. Out the car on its roof is a Porsche GT3. Oh, dearie me, it's not short of action here in this opening lap.
Well, the Porsche GT3 Cup cars just look like flipped over turtles when they're that way, and it's a very sad sight. I think we saw a total of 5 flipped over cars. Another crash in the back. That is one of the Impulse Racing cars. The number 801 will be Pascal Costa. That has to be one of the most chaotic opening laps that I've ever seen, Peter. And there are tons of replays on the way.
Oh yes, we'll try to get them all to you, but at the moment we are, we are going to get them to you, which I'm pleased to say. So this is a replay of the start then. So Dane Baird he's got Busk just tipping his nose in, and it wasn't really a great deal that Dane could do there. That was just a bit of a racing incident, I think, Soumil. It's so tight there coming into Tarzan Corner. Wild as the jungle man himself.
Oh no!
Massive pile up here. Wow.
That reminded me of a game of bowling when the ball comes in and strikes everyone and all the pins disappear. That was a big accident with both of the wild animals cars involved in the first lap. Lewis Ward is right here and he just gets stabbed around. No.
It was all started.
5 odd cars?
It was all started by one of the wild animals cars. I couldn't quite see which number it was, but yeah, just punted the back of Ward, and that set off the chain reaction. So let's have a look here. As oh my lordy, I think it was the 555 of Kirill Kolobuksov who set that horrible chain reaction off. And you mentioned 10-pin bowling. It was almost like dominoes. It was like a domino trick, wasn't it? As we see the drivers involved in that incident really struggling to get going again, and it might be the end of their day. So here's another replay. Well, we'll tell you what, we'll be here all night with these. Jose Manuel Padin, what's going to happen to him? Oh dear, I'm not even going to say it. That was just a really unlucky one there all around.
Now then, with something with Tobias Meisel, he's the one who hits him around and then gets spun around himself. And all of a sudden, turn the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car around and you've got a flipped over turtle. Man, that is so sad to see. But the replays are not done yet, folks. Karsten Van Eyck loses it all on his own under braking, and then like an uncontrolled bowling ball, he lands in the gravel trap, sadly not hitting anyone. Then Justin Rem has a fair share of his incidents too, because that is on the Audi S's. On the grass, no, that's on the entry to the last corner. And
well,
where do we go with this?
Well, Justin Wren there spinning. I mean, that span right in front of Ryan Parkins, and remember, Ryan runs with the virtual reality headsets. You see, Kieran Harrison. Now that is a collector's item. I tell you what, take a photograph of that. That is one for the highlight reel. Kieran Harrison does not make mistakes like that very often. So, what a start to this race. Kieran Harrison back in 16th position Ryan Parkin's up to 11th in the 225, and it's just to finish what I was saying there, Justin Rem spun in front of me. If you can imagine, if you're wearing a VR headset, that would have seemed like he had a Porsche 911 Cup car right on in front of his eyes. That was, wow, that was close. So, not the best of start through the field for HM Engineering, but for their lead man, Maxim Ramstein, he's just a slither over a second behind Alexander Teeb. So that battle is on at the front.
Yeah, that was a lot of replays that we just had right there. So much going on in the first lap. I think it's all calmed down a little bit, and that's something very nice to see after that acrimonious first lap. We expected drama at Zandvoort. Who are we kidding? We expected a whole lot of crashes, but this was on a different level. Hey, fun day at the beach coming up for all those drivers who crashed out because, well, what do you do if you have a bad day at Zandvoort? You go to the beach nearby, put up your umbrella, have some sandwiches, and know that the seagulls don't take them away. But that jokes aside, battles going on everywhere all the way through, and Sam Coited, we saw him getting slightly aggressive with Maxim Ramstein on the first lap. Now, Sam Coited has just become a rejuvenated driver in the last 3 months. He's really become very quick, and now he can challenge Maxim Ramstein for second place, quite like Kieran Harrison, Ramstein's teammate, is going to challenge Martin Donati for P number 14, Peter.
Yeah, really proud. Kieran Harrison is, shall we say, I think it's fair to say Kieran is out of sequence here. He's a very, very fast driver, so this will be deeply frustrating. But of course, you've really got to pick your way through cleanly. And Zandvoort is not always straightforward, certainly not in every part of the circuit. So let's see what his teammate Jordan Weeks getting a wild one onto the gravel. Doing a bit of a Paris-Dakar rally impression there, of which Porsche had... they did run in the Paris-Dakar rally with the 959, the Rothmans 959, built by ProDrive. Wonderful machine. Which was actually originally, the 959 was originally built to go Group B rallying, and then that of course got the plug pulled, but they still made the road car anyway, which I like that. And then they made it into an off-road dirt raid car, if you like. So what's happened to Martin Spalek in the 906 machine? Another replay. Tell you what, our producer Arjuna Kankapati is getting, his fingers are going to be sore tonight hitting all the replay buttons in the production booth, and a great job he is doing too. And oh, someone put in the roof by a wild animals car. Oh, full 360. Very nice. Very stylish.
Martin Spalek will be having a few headaches after this one if he's driving in a VR. One of the wild animals car comes in. Spalek gets turned around like a JCB crane once again. Rightio then. Grabau. Yeah, that was Artem Grabau. And just to compound the bad news for wild animals, Kirill Golubtsov also had a drive-through penalty for all the drama on their first lap, but Golubtsov is not in the session anymore. He's quit this game. Sad to see him go away.
Indeed. I'm sure the drivers on track might not agree, given the amount of incidents that seem to attract themselves to those wild animals cars. But never mind. Maxim Ramstein, well, look at how much of the road he's using on the exit there. Wow. That is, I didn't realise you could use that much exit on the road there. That shows you why I'm up here and he's in the car. Oh, there's an HM Engineering car off. It's not Ramstein. Oh my word. 2 collector's items in one race. What has happened to Kieran Harrison? This is so not like him. Looks to make an unforced error there at the Ari Lewandijk bend. Goes straight on. I'm speechless, Soumil. That's really, looks like he gets a bit of a wobble on, and that puts him wide. He's onto the grass, and when you're on the grass, you might as well be on an ice rink. Oh, well, they love their speed skating here in the Netherlands. Well, that was a good impression of it.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go on the grass. It is just so slippery. There's barely any grip on that. And if the best can make a mistake like this one, absolutely anyone can. And that's why I love Zandvoort. You see, it doesn't have all the astroturf and all the runoff nonsense quite like the modern day racing circuits. It is classic. Make a mistake, you got to pay for it. And sometimes even the best like Kieran Harrison get caught out. So hopefully Kieran Harrison can press the reset button and be back even stronger for the final round of the championship. But for now, let's focus on Jose Manuel Padin and Martin Donati. Now, Donati is an aggressive driver. He won't be afraid to block the door off. And that's something you can do rather easily at Zandvoort, considering how narrow this circuit is. But mind you, Jose Manuel Padin is no slouch himself. I think the last time we saw him at Montreal, he did get very aggressive and he was able to make a few good moves, Peter. So Perhaps we could have something very good in the pipeline with this battle. Robin Osland and Dylan Burse. These two guys have been going on against each other for as long as I can remember now. Every single round I've seen them go nose to tail.
Well, I tell you what, Dylan Burse, he will be looking very closely at Robin Osland in front of him, but I bet you he'll have one eye on Quentin Villate a little bit further up the road, because I think he still hasn't had his chance to have his redemption with Villate after their little skirmish in their heat. But this is going to be a good battle. Robin Osland, really fast driver, the Swede, the man from Gavel. Dylan Burse, the Antipodean ace, as we see, got a car going incredibly slowly there at the end of pit lane, actually parked at the end of pit lane, but thankfully just out of harm's way. That was good to see. I'm not sure that was
Tobias
Meisel. Was he serving a drive-through, perhaps, or just come in for repair?
I guess he's pulled off and gone away because his car is also showing the red marks in the timing screen. So perhaps he's done for the day as well. But speaking of drive-throughs, Colin Books have had a drive-through as well. That was for the number 555. That was for the incidents early on. And also, there is another drive-through penalty coming in for Artem Grabau. So both the Wild Animals car having a tough day here. Yeah, that was for, of course, putting somebody on the roof as well. So not a good day at all for the Wild Animals guys with their well, as I say, we've said this before, Soumil. You cannot excuse them for not being on brand. They are certainly on brand, that is for sure. that is for certain. So, riding on board with Brian Lockwood, who has been an absolute revelation today, and he has got a little bit of, just a bit of minor damage on the front of this car. You can see this on the front right-hand part of the bonnet of the car. There's a little bit of bodywork damage, but it doesn't appear to be holding him back, and he looks to be putting a bit of pressure on Sam Coiter in third here. And he can see the leading pair. He can see Maxim Ramstein up ahead and Alexander Teeb. Alexander Teeb, he is keeping Swiss time at the front here. 1.3 seconds ahead, and he is just putting consistent lap times one after the other in just metronomic fashion. That's what you get, the quality of the drivers here in the PorscheSport Carrera Cup. They're not nobodies, they are proper sim racing icons who have raced in so many big series otherwise. And if they've not raced in big series, they are making their mark and are rising up the ranks rather quickly. So then, taking a moment of peace with Sam Coiter, let's actually stick back and listen to the sound of this beautiful Carrera Cup cars, because just how beautiful it is then, the Porsche V6 flat 6 engine actually.
Oh, it's gorgeous. The flat 6 Porsche is such a distinctive sound, and you listen to it here, 4 litres, naturally aspirated. It's still quite rare nowadays to get a naturally aspirated race car. Of course, so many brands going turbocharged, and you just listen to this singing car with a lovely, nice and wide power band as well. The sequential gearbox in these GT3 Cup cars as well actually, interestingly, has a touch less power than the GT3 road car that it is based upon, which has just over a slither over 500 horsepower. So, but of course this car is quite a bit lighter because it's stripped of creature comfort such as sat-nav and leather seats. It's actually completely bare inside. But yeah, driving one of these things on the limit, I saw them at my local circuit, which is Knockhill, which is very, very tight and twisty. And these cars, they almost slightly outgrow the circuit, to be honest. I mean, threading one of these things through the back part at Knockhill, I had to doff my cap many times that day, seeing them going around.
Well, it's an engineering marvel, an absolute masterpiece, and I'm sure Brian Lockwood will agree, because he is just driving this beast, and it is a proper beast. No traction control, no ABS, all the way through to the back of Sam Coiter for P number 3. Final position slot, mind you, so Lockwood, the Porsche Esports Super Cup driver, wanting to prove exactly why he is there. And he is quite a quick one with RaceKraft Esports, one of the top sim racing teams around. Can he do then? It's RaceKraft versus WIP Volante. It is Coiter versus Lockwood in this middle sector. I'm sure Lockwood knows that you can't make a move around here, and Coiter, the home hero, knows how to block things off. But is he going to make something move done at the Lockwood corner, which is coming out right now? Not quite, Peter. Not quite. Not this time.
No, but he's just picking our way through just taking his time, but he's definitely onto the back of Coiter now, as you can visibly see on camera. So he's definitely in the range now, whereas just 2 or 3 laps ago, he wasn't. Now we're getting an excellent piece of information thanks to our wonderful producer Arjuna. Not only is he bringing you these wonderful replays, images, graphics, all you see here does not happen by accident. Arjuna is very busy on the buttons and the switches, and he has taken time to find us a great little tidbit. Brian Lockwood put in 60 hours of preparation for the TAG Heuer Esports Super Cup round here at Zandvoort. So clearly he's worn a Brian Lockwood-shaped groove in the track here. He knows it so well.
Man, that is some incredible amount of effort. 60 hours is no joke, and he translates that into a move down the inside on Sam Coiter. Wow, they're door-to-door at Tarzan Corner. Lockwood having the advantage of the racing line, but they're still going wheel to wheel, and they will not let go until a long, long time. Coiter defends valiantly, but so does Lockwood. Goes to the outside line of turn number 3, and he has to concede, Peter, but it's not done yet.
Spot the karting champion, Sam Coiter. Fantastic racecraft there, because I tell you what, I thought Lockwood had that one in the bag, but Coiter just had to, I mean, absolutely perfect. Firm as you can be, fair as you can be as well. Brilliant stuff from both men. A lot of times that would have ended up in an incident, but they both co-inhabited the same part of the racetrack, side by side all the way through there. And I tell you what, this is going to be the standout battle, I'm sure, of the day. Now, Soumil, look who we have. I just spotted some bright pink wheels in the background. Of course, Sam Coiter is sporting them as well. Justin Tipton. Yeah. Now, he's in 5th, but the more that Lockwood and Coiter pass one another and fight with one another, Tipton can just, well, forgive me, tiptoe his way closer to this battle for the podium. Sorry, that's I'm sorry, I'll retire.
That just has to be the pun of the day.
Yep, sorry.
And the best part of them all, Peter, is that Sam Coiter will have to worry just a little bit, because instead of seeing one RaceKraft esports car, it'll be 2 of them. No, Sam, you're not drunk, you're not seeing everything double. It actually is 2 RaceKraft esports cars behind you. This is where the diamond comes under a lot of pressure. Does he mold up and become the diamond that we all think he is, and we all know that he is? Or do the RaceKraft esports cars get by? As we are seeing in the comments, he's got to make that Porsche go wide.
Well, these do have a very wide track, these 911 GT3 Cup cars. If you've ever seen a 911 GT3 RS on the road, they are an imposing looking car indeed, and a wonderful looking car as well, with a sound track to match. They are not merely racing cars, they are mobile musical instruments, these machines. They are just wonderful, and together as a symphony, they are beautiful. So, Sam Coiter, well, he is just defending so strongly here, but this is Lockwood Corner, remember? Here we go. Here he goes. Now, he's got half the move done. Can he make that move stick? He does shut the door. Sam Coiter, very quick on the headlight flasher. Now, he takes a wide entry. He'll be able to get a good exit out of this corner here, but Lockwood is through. Now, here is the question. What do you think, Soumil? Can Coiter, can he fight back? Can he retaliate here?
Well, knowing Sam Coiter, it's not even a question about can. He will fight back. He will retaliate, because that is what Sam Coiter does for a living. We come across to the final sector, the final corner of the track. Justin Rem has made a move or two. He's up in the P number 17. There's a bit of battling going on in the low half of the field, but we have to focus on this, because this is where the majority of the points are awarded. And now it's a RaceKraft esports sandwich with Sam Coiter as the meat in his home race. What can the Dutchman do? I know what he can do. He can actually go ahead and get that position for himself, but how close does he have to go, and how much risk does he have to take? Because beyond the point, you have to ask yourself the question, is it worth it? Because at Zandvoort, things can go so horribly wrong. Does he want to risk things up and go for a move when things could go horribly wrong here?
Oh, well, speaking of things which aren't so pleasant, well, Ryan Parkins, the number 225, racing for PorscheSport. He has now not one, but 2 HM Engineering aces behind him. Weeks and Busk. These are the new HM Engineering recruits. And Ryan's probably looking in his mirror going, oh, who invited these guys along? Leave me alone. This is not what I want to see. You also see they'll be able to get close enough to see the Strasser Porsche logo on that PorscheSport car. One of the top independent specialists for Porsche, both for sale, service, and will even be able to help you go racing here in the United Kingdom as well. They run a fleet of Porsche classic racing cars as well, so do give them a shout, and thanks to them for their support of the series as well. But I tell you what, Ryan Parkin's doing what he does best, keeping the defence up, knocking out those consistent lap times, and I tell you what, these HM Engineering guys, they're going to have to work hard to get past Ryan.
They absolutely have to. Look at them getting close. Ryan Parkins will see a big red monster in the back of his rearview mirror. It's not the wrestler Kane, it's the HM Engineering car of Weeks right at the back. There's been someone going wide. It's Henrik Lichtenhagen, I'm afraid. And our friends in the YouTube chat will be slightly disappointed because he's got so much support. Pascal Costa's involved in this. Lichtenhagen brakes at Lockwood corner, and no. I've been there and I've done that. That corner just tightens up so much on the exit that it's so hard not to do something like that. It was inevitable, and it's happened now.
Yes, there are so many different lines of entry and of exit, but often they kind of meet in the middle there, and that's pretty much what happened. It looked a little bit like Costa maybe just got a bit late in the brakes. Now, also, the one thing that is so tricky, we've mentioned it all season long, is the braking in these cars. You have so many drivers take a long time to get used to the braking because of the brake balance is quite unusual as well, with the engine being so far rearward. But also these cars have no traction control and crucially no ABS. And into that corner, a lot of time you've got to do a bit of trail braking, turning the car in and braking at the same time. And if you just make that slight mistake on the brakes, you will just skid straight forward and through into the car in front, as we saw there. So I don't think there was any malice there. Just a little bit of a little pinch of a lock-up on the brakes.
Yeah, things can get wrong ever so easily right here at a circuit like Zandvoort in the Porsche Carrera Cup cars. Lots of things that can go wrong, but these drivers are so skilled that they manage to keep it all clean and together. Now the two HM Engineering cars of Weeks and Busk on the tail of Parkins. It's been a bit of a tricky weekend for HM Engineering too, coming in with two new cars. And you've got to give them a bit of slack. They're just coming to the series, so you naturally expect them to make a couple of mistakes here and there, but I'm sure they'll come back stronger, and they will come back even better later on. Of course, last round of the season coming up in a couple of weeks' time, but now our focus is back on Ryan Parkins because Weeks is right there, Peter. Weeks is right there.
Yeah, this is amazing stuff from 959 HM Engineering Ace, but well, this is a great matchup here between Ryan Parkins and Weeks in the 959 HM Engineering Porsche. And the one thing about Ryan is he makes very few mistakes. He really is so consistent, just knocks out those lap times. And he's, if I can reveal one of the really sneaky tip, Soumil, that Ryan very kindly gave me, is that on iRacing is to turn the sound of the engine down slightly, which I do hate doing on cars like these, but it helps you hear the scrub of the tyres a little bit more. One of his little handy tidbits he gave me.
That's interesting. That's actually quite interesting.
So you can hear the tyres scrubbing, and It appears to be working. That's for sure. This would be his second top 10 of the season in this PorscheSport Carrera Cup. And bearing in mind that Ryan has no real world racing experience and relatively new to sim racing in the last 3 or 4 years compared to some of the other guys who've got a lot of experience, Ryan is an immense talent behind the wheel.
He absolutely is, and he's showing exactly why by keeping away both the HM Engineering cars, who are both formidable drivers themselves, and he keep it for the next 6 odd minutes. But hey, while all that's happened, Peter, everything at the top has been amazing. Alexander Thieb, 3.5 seconds. We expected Ramstein to be closer, but no. Thieb has just been on charge, and you can't say that Ramstein has been off pace because Ramstein is always so consistent, but wow, Thieb has been on another level.
Yeah, he has. You just have to look at... Oh, no! No, Ryan Parkins is off. The King Hippo has spun around. What has happened there for the 225 in the PorscheSport? Oh, and it gets ploughed by Weeks in the 959 HM Engineering. Well, there'll be a bright red scratch down the side of that Porsche there. Ryan brakes, holds his line. Whack. You know, Weeks is
Whack
never
indeed.
making that corner. No, that's not what we like to see, and it looks like Ryan may have a bit of suspension damage. We'll see when he gets back onto the track. So here's a view from Rasmus Busk. Oh dearie me, that wasn't a very good end to that battle, was it, Soumil?
Nope, quite the opposite. Quite the opposite for all of them, and we expected big things, but yeah, sometimes things just go wrong, don't they?
They do. That is racing, as they say, and it happens to everyone. That's all part of the game. So, Justin Rem, the number 912, not quite been the feature race performance I expected from him, to be honest. It looks like he's carrying a bit of damage there, but I expected him to be a wee bit further up after being so impressive in his heat race. But good to see him with a bit of a resurgence this round here at Zandvoort.
Yeah, he's been having a good round right here. I mean, some days drivers just are on the top of their game, and there's a drive-through now for the 959 car. Yeah, that's a bit of a sad incident right there. That would be for weeks in the HM Engineering team.
Yeah, as you see, Pascal Costa, whoa, having a bit of a spin at Lockwood Corner, as we've christened it now. Speaking of Mr. Lockwood, he's moved up into third position, so he's got past Sam Coiter as and made the move stick, and he is off, and well, he's pulled a big gap from Sam Coiter. Now here's a question for you, Soumil. We've got 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Now, Brian Lockwood is not a contender for the championship. There are only 2 contenders for the championship, Maxim Ramstein and Alexander Teeb, and it's incredibly close. Alexander Teeb looks to be winning this round with 1 round to go, but here's a problem. If Brian Lockwood, look at the gaps there, 0.3 of a second, and then 0.2 of a second, then another nearly 0.3 of a second over the last 3 laps, he's pulled into Maxim Ramstein. Now, if Lockwood could go past Maxim Ramstein, Alexander Teeb will probably be giving him buying him a beer or giving him a free consultation in his physiotherapy practice.
Exactly. No, these 2 guys have been amazing in terms of the battles they've put on, but yeah, lots of respect between both of them too.
Indeed, yes, and I'm sure, yes, absolutely indeed, which has been great to see up at the front here. But Alexander Teeb, I mean, you always know as a driver, if you're not getting much airtime on the commentary, it means that you're driving the perfect race, basically.
And he doesn't mind.
He doesn't mind. Very nice, very nice too. But look at this. I mean, number 54, Alexander Teeb. We run out of superlatives, but this is a good demonstration for our viewers of just how high the level is in top-level sim racing. You know, we say Alexander's day job is as a physiotherapist, but does drive at the World Championship level, does a lot of practice, about 3 hours a night. And the great thing is, as I say in every broadcast, the great thing about watching sim racing is that you, after this race, you can go and fire up your iRacing, jump in this very car. Coiter's off. My apologies, pause there. Sam Coiter has gone off in the middle part of the circuit. Let's see what happens here. Now, I hate to remind him, but he did go off there in the F3 race and then drove an amazing recovery, but he doesn't have much time for recovery now, 2.5 minutes. That is such a high commitment corner, Soumil, that it's very easy to make that mistake.
Yeah, Sam Coiter on the charge, so fast, not so smooth. On the gravel trap eventually. Sam Coiter was pushing a bit too hard, but sadly, yes, sometimes it just backfires. Not a bad result though in the end in P number 6, but surely he'll be looking back at that incident and marking it out in his post-race review and realizing, yeah, perhaps I should have not given 120.
Indeed. So, this is interesting here. There's Justin Tipton battling with Quentin Villate for 4th position. So let's see. So Justin Tipton not quite able to reach the podium battle just yet, but you never know. There's still, with 1 minute and 43 seconds to go, who knows what can happen. But Brian Lockwood, he's still got 1.5 seconds to go with about, look like we'll get 2 more laps, including this one, I think. So it's going to be a big push for Brian Lockwood, but it looks like he might have just, well, looks like Sam Coiter might have just, sorry, my apologies, start again, Peter. Maxim Ramstein looks like he might have just done enough to keep Brian Lockwood at bay, and that could be critical going into the final round at Spa in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, he's developing the gap for himself right now, and you just want to make sure that you get the best results all the time, just to keep on piling up the points on the points table. Make sure that it looks pretty good by the end. This is when you can actually go for a run and get the best results in. Now, is that Justin Tipton that we're looking at. Well, that's Quentin Villate at the back. Now, Quentin Villate is a very aggressive driver, mind you. Not really had the best of rounds this time, sadly.
Well, he's certainly, I mean, another top 5 for Quentin. I mean, if you get in the top 5 in a field like this, particularly in a format like this as well, I think, because you've got to get through your heat and then have an... Oh, as Quentin gets very cosy there, a little bit too cosy, with Justin Tipton a little nudge, but they both carry on unharmed, it would appear. But Quentin just giving a little bit of a touring car tap there, just to say, yep, fancy a go. I think that's what's about to happen in this last lap. And Justin Tipton, well, that'll just get his shackles up a little bit as we see Dylan Burst. Oh, dear. Oh, Dylan Burst putting Robin Osland into the kitty litter there. The man from Gavel is in the gravel, unfortunately, at that horrible chicane there. Really, really tricky entry there into that chicane. It's just the Hans Erst chicane, which is always so tricky. But, oh, now look at that. There is some wonderful sportsmanship. Dylan Burst pulls across to let Robin Osland go by. Nice. Very classy there from... Now, bear in mind, that's a man 14 years old, a young man with impeccable manners.
Well, that is brilliant. That is actually something so beautiful to see. Sportsmanship at its absolute best. Now, the sportsmanship here begins even more with Villate trying to attack Villate trying to attack Justin Tipton right now on the very final lap. Let's see what happens here, going past the middle sector. Nice, good defending by Tipton. Oh, almost got loose now. Villate tries to look to the outside line. This could be his chance on the final lap. He's got the inside line for the next one. Sends it. Oh, door to door. And oh, the touch. Oh, man.
Dear. Do you know what? That's disappointing, actually, as we say. We'll come back to that one. I'm sure we'll get a chance to look at that incident. But Alexander Teeb coming around Ari Lowendyke Bend for the final time to cap off another perfect day here in the PorscheSport.com Carrera Cup. He's going to win from pole position, wins his heat, and wins here in the feature race for Team Redline, and puts himself in a very strong position for the final round at Spa-Francorchamps. Maxim Ramstein comes home in second position with the charging Brian Lockwood in third place. Just not quite. A few more laps and he might have got past Maxim, but not quite. So this battle resumes then. Dylan Burst just going to finish behind Robin Osland. It looks like they run to the line. Yes, Robin Osland just gets that position from Dylan Burst, but again, have to give that young man high commendation for his good manners there. Speaking of the opposite of that, here is Quentin Villate. Now, he had the move done, still room there to tuck in, I would suggest, and maybe just lets the brake off a little bit. Would you suggest? Would you maybe agree, Soumil?
Yeah, a bit of a tricky incident, actually. I'm going to take another replay to have a look. Okay, so we've got Tipton right here. So here we go again. We've got Villate to the inside line. Perhaps Villate could have just not sent it a bit too aggressively. No, I understand on his point. He wants to get the position. It's the final lap. You want to go hard or go home, but no, I guess perhaps it was a little bit too.
Yeah, I think he could have got that done cleanly. I know I'm not behind the wheel, but I'd like to see the steering inputs. But to me, that seemed like he was setting up a beautiful move there, and yeah, unfortunately a bit aggressive. But never mind. An amazing race here at Zandvoort, won by, well, the equally amazing Alexander Teeb, edging out Maxim Ramstein just by a handful of seconds. Only 4.1 seconds across 30 minutes of hard racing. No gap at all. Brian Lockwood, well, gets the driver of the day for me. A really good charge up the field and really good performance from the RaceKraft Esports ace. Just 5 seconds off the eventual winner, Alexander Teeb. Quentin Villate finished in 4th. Sam Coitert was 5th, followed by Mr. Pink Wheels, Justin Tipton, Robin Osland, Dylan Burst, Oscar Wilkins, and Rasmus Busk. The top of the HM Engineering 2 drivers, and I must apologise, I've lost my... There we go, thank you, Arjuna. The 11th place went to Alan Powell, followed by Jose Manuel Padden. Ryan Parkins, who had suspension damage after that little incident, finished in 13th. Still a great result considering. Martin Donati finished 14th, followed by Jordan Weeks, Justin Rem, Clement Andriot, Artem Grabau, Pascal Costa, and Karsten van Eyck. Rounding out the rest of our field was Hendrik Lichtenhagen, Jacob Robotham, Martin Spalek, Dane Baird, Tobias Meisel, Kieran Harrison, not used to seeing him down there at all. A terrible day at the office for Kieran. Kirill Kolobuksov in 27th, followed by Hugo Gallo, Thomas Goldelion, and finally, Lewis Ward. So already, well, he's as fast on the circuit as he is to the interview room. We have our race winner, Alexander Teep, who is with my colleague, Soumil Arora. Let's hear what he has to say.
Alex made yet another dominant performance. I ask this question to you all the time, but still, how do you do it, man? The amount of practice that you put in and everything, it just always results in a superb result.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, it's all about the time management, that you have enough time for practice. But for this race, actually, it was a bit too close. So I started a few hours ago again with the practice, which wasn't enough. And I mean, I could see it on my lap times in the race. In the beginning of the race, I was super fast, but after 15 minutes, my lap times were dropping. A bit too much towards the end. Brian was closing the gap a little bit. So it wasn't perfect in my opinion, but at the end, I'm happy about the win.
Come on, Alex. The lap times were dropping. You were just superb right there, just dominating from start to finish. Yeah, I mean,
from this point of view, it was okay, but you always need to search these things you can improve, and that's at the end the key to succeed.
Now, Alex, we've got Spa coming up in a couple of weeks. The battle between you and Maxime is heating up. How does it feel getting yet another trump over him, because he's of course your main championship rival?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm just looking forward to it. I mean, Spa is a great track, and the racing will be awesome on the track. I mean, it's not too easy to pull away from the car behind, because the draft is very strong there. But I mean, the racing has always been great on Spa, and I'm just looking forward to get into the battle with Maxime and maybe Brian.
Oh, that'll be interesting, Alex. And what's the atmosphere like in Team Redline right now? Is everyone pretty satisfied with the way you've been going on over here in the Carrera Cup? I mean, surely they have to be.
Yeah, I hope so. But I think they are very happy what we achieved also with a victory yesterday in the Petit Le Mans race.
Nice.
The atmosphere in general is very good at the moment in our team.
Well, Alex, just before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to for this one?
Yeah, at first Maxime and Brian, who did a great job on P2 and P3, and of course to my team and our sponsors. And also you guys, you're doing a great job, and thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Alex. Congratulations once again, and hopefully we see a good round in Spa. See you.
Yeah, thank you. See you.
I don't actually quite know how to react, Soumil. That is so impressive, isn't it? We've seen Alex drive the most beautiful race all day, just not a single mistake. And he's still not satisfied. That's life at the top, I suppose, isn't it?
It is.
Speaking of life at the top, let's get Maxim Ramstein in for a chat to the commentary box. Maxim Ramstein, well, you did not put a foot wrong all day. A brilliant move from third to second at the start of the race, but just that 100th of a second per lap, just that tiny slither slower than Alex all day. How did you find that for yourself?
Yeah, unfortunately, I noticed the same. It was very similar to the last race, actually. I was hoping to at least be able to stay on his tail, to be honest. It was a little bit disappointing to see him run away from me, from my point of view, of course. Yeah, looks like we got some work to do still.
Well, you're still very much in the fight for the championship, certainly. And of course, Spa is a circuit which I think, every driver loves. In terms of your performance at Spa in the past, is it a circuit where you've had a lot of success relatively, or how do you find it when we get there for the season finale in 2 weeks?
I think I'm gonna like Spa more than Zandvoort, to be honest. Yeah, I've got more experience in the game on Spa than on Zandvoort, and Yeah, it should be easier for me to keep up if Alex is faster again than Brian. For me to keep up in the draft because of the long straights. That should give me a tiny advantage, I think. I hope, at least. So yeah, looking forward to that one. It's going to be close. I'm going to have to pull something off. I'm going to have to beat him if I want to win this. So exciting for sure.
Well, we're certainly equally excited, and I admire your honesty as a Dutchman to say that you prefer Spa over Zandvoort. I do admire that honesty. That is very impressive. Now, speaking of Zandvoort, now when I come here, or when I've been here in the past, kibbling is a delicacy that they have here at Zandvoort. Have you sampled the delights on the seashore here at Zandvoort in the real world?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a delicacy throughout the Netherlands, I think. At least where I live as well. So yeah, especially when I was a little kid, we used to go get it. It's very good. Yeah.
It certainly is. Now, Maxim, before we let you go and go and get practicing for the next 2 weeks for Spa, who would you like to give a shout out to after a great drive to P2 today?
I think I actually forgot to congratulate Alex on the win again. So first of all, congrats to him. And thanks to my team again, HM Engineering. We've got some new guys joining the series as well. The driving's not been flawless, I heard. But yeah, they're great with help for the setup. So that's good stuff. Thanks, guys.
I'm sure you can give them a few handy tips before Spa. Maxim, well done on another brilliant drive today, and all the very best of luck for the season finale in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you.
So finally, we have our, well, for me, standout driver of the day, Brian Lockwood, who is with Soumil Arora.
Brian, man, that was quite a performance in the end. How would you sum up this weekend?
Fun. That was one of the more fun races I've done in recent memory. Very chaotic for sure, especially at the starts. And unfortunately, it wasn't a fairy tale ending. The damage at turn 1, I think, hindered what could have been. I think we could have gotten more out of the weekend, but overall, still, that was an awesome race.
That was pretty awesome. And Brian, we had a bit of a term right here. We called that one corner in the middle sector as Lockwood Corner because you were able to make so many moves over there. That was some epic stuff, man. How did you get that done?
Well, I just drove the car in hard. If you drive the car in harder than anybody else, you get the spot. It's that simple.
And it was fascinating, man, some of the moves that you made right there. But on the whole, what were the major challenges that you faced here at Zandvoort? But certainly you seem to extract a good result, but there must be a few things that must be slightly tricky to handle, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is one of my favorite tracks in the world, and
perfect.
it's because it's so tricky. Every single corner is complex for a different reason. Turn 1, there's a dip in the braking zone that you have to let off for. Turn 3, of course, has a banking, etc., etc. So the challenge is really just understanding what every corner on the track wants, because it's something different. You name a corner on the track, it wants something unique. So luckily, I had preparation from the Porsche Taquaria Esports Super Cup earlier this year, and I was able to use some of that track knowledge and get up to speed pretty quickly. So I think without that, I would have been much, much worse off. But yeah, I mean, it ended up, I got up to speed pretty quickly, threw a setup together. Justin and I were a little bit concerned about the race. Neither of us had as much prep time as we would have liked, and he was on some new equipment. But overall, we both did really well.
And Brian, we got to know that you practiced for 60 hours at Zandvoort for the Porsche Sport Super Cup race. Is that true?
Oh, it is. 63, actually.
63? Holy hell, man. That is some intense stuff, isn't it?
Absolutely. It was worth it, though. I ended up finishing 3rd in the sprint race and 5th in the feature. So it certainly paid off.
Certainly paid off in the end. And Brian, just before we let you go, a couple of questions. About Porsche Esport Super Cup, we've got Monza coming up next. What are your thoughts on that, and what are your thoughts on Spa, which is coming up next over here?
Well, Monza coming up, it's going to be a very difficult race. I'm P21 in the championship right now, 3 points behind the cutoff for the top 20. And of course, that was helped by the incident last race where I wasn't able to make the grid, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's the reality of the situation. So I just have to race my race, and whatever happens, happens. If I really deserved the top 20, I wouldn't be in this position in the first place. So at this point, I just have to take whatever comes.
Well, once again, Brian, congratulations on this result. It was really fun watching you drive here. Mind-blowing stuff. All the best for Spa, man.
Thank you very much.
Well, that, folks, was Brian Lockwood from RaceKraft Esports, and what a race he's had in the end, finishing in P number 3. Truly entertaining. And what a day we've had here, Peter, at Zandvoort.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure to call, a pleasure and a privilege to call this action, and to call it with you, Soumil, has been absolutely superb, and it sets us up perfectly for the championship finale in 2 weeks' time, the 7th and final round of the season, at really, for many drivers, the best of them all, Spa-Francorchamps, on the 18th of October. Do not miss it here at 8 p.m. UK time, which is 1900 GMT. And so, yeah, we'd love to have your company for that. I can assure you it will be an absolute thriller to, well, finish what has been an amazing opening season of the PorscheSport Carrera Cup, and let's hope we will come back for another season. That's all we have time for here tonight on Racespot TV. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast. The drivers put on an amazing show. A huge thanks to our producer, Arjuna Kankapati, for, well, what must have been a very busy night on production with all these wonderful replays, graphics and images. So huge thank you to Arjuna. Big thanks to my commentary pal, Soumil Arora, for his wonderful company and insight throughout the night. And to you for watching, and we hope to see you in 2 weeks' time at Spa-Francorchamps for the season finale of the PorscheSport.com Carrera Cup.